Hey, Black African Power. What's good? What's happening? A well organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Ooh, man, y'all already know what it is, man. It's God Killer in the house, man. And look, man, we got a powerful show today. And look, man, let's just get it cracking, man.
Amara Squad up, Magi Archers in the building, please believe. Oh shit. If you ain't Sinetta, no time for that interview, dog. I put my shit out for niggas, I don't send it to blogs. Clan kill off the Buddha, not being discreet. One puff, this big pops and projectiles. Between the sheets. Sun run, cold game, bring your cleats. The best flow blow, Eskimo, penguin feet. Don't need no blunt to burn. You run the turf with 10 niggas on the block. That's a punt return. Ayo, Dolomite prototype soldier with the solar light. Saber and he hold it like he hold a mic. Golden ice pendants, sipping on that overpriced poltergeist spirits. Ripping at the open mic, spoke the nice lyrics like Mama moved mean overnight. Golden motorbike holding on some Tron shit. That nice neon kit is on it. The king's libation with exotic liqueur. Queen's vibration like a Sada Shakur. A lot of decor, imported foreign threads, they ain't got at the store. Nubian Kush, and black top pottery jaws. 39% THC, the quality pure. Old rappers try to spit, ain't hot as before. It's like I'm 5 flights above, busting shots at the floor. Cats switch up they style when they ain't got it no more. Cause they gotta keep their product in stores to feed their kids. See what that weed did? Yeah, yes man, agreeing on everything we said. I smother the mic like it's the love of my life. Don't get sliced and beat with the butt of the knife. Brother polite, I say I'm animalistic, cause I still be in the hood with my hand on my pistol. The Hebrews think I'm cannibalistic, E5 divination, channel the mystic, audio visionary. Let's play poetical Pictionary. Picture me burning down your missionary. Yeah, then I send you religion. That red dot on your head, that's Hindu tradition. Invisible, independent, intrinsic shit. I'll bring it all to an end with indivisible gains. Charles Xavier, getting your brain. Mental anguish or manifesting physical pain. Wizard remains to dance in the chemical rain. Breathe slow, then I'm up out of this physical plane. Got military machinery that exercise, weaponized greenery. Shine at to jeopardize the scenery, son. Bruh, the beam 10 times your distance. Inclines be benching. Stop rising with no trend line resistance. The parabolic breakout. I'm F-16 with the aeronautic fake out. The God killer. The God killer. The God killer. It's the God killer. The God killer. That's who it is. The God killer. The God killer. It's the God killer. The God killer. The God killer. The God killer. It's the God killer. The God killer. The God killer. The God killer. It's the God killer.
You got it, Unc?
Black African Power. What's good? What's happening? A well organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Ooh, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's God Killer in the house. Hey, and it's Amara Squad up. Look, and we coming to do, we got to do, and we're gonna do, we got to do. We standing tall, we standing strong. Hey, and it's Amara Squad up. Man, what's good, family, man? Y'all already know what it is, man. We got one of them very, very, very important shows. I don't want to freeze right here. Sinjetta, you got something to say?
All right, everybody. Imhotep, Ankh and MAAT. So we're going to have a really great show here tonight. We have the Amara Squad here with the Raising Awareness group, and we're here to have a great discussion tonight. So, we're going to go into some of our objectives here. So I'm going to go.
Forgot already.
Screen share.
What you supposed to do?
Okay.
I paused for a minute for you to do your thing real quick.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we want to start off with our African tradition, and I'd like to ask on behalf of the Amara Squad, do we have permission to speak?
Speak.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we got the permission from the elders. So can y'all see my share screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on.
1 minute, Sanjetti. Can you freeze 1 second, please, brother?
All right, go ahead.
Brother Sahotep, what's good, baby? I'm a raw squad up.
Peace. Can y'all hear?
You hear you.
Right, this external mic.
It's all good.
But
all right.
Peace to the family. Peace to esteemed guests. Peace to all listeners and people who are catching it on the back end because you couldn't catch us live. But it's going to be very informative and hope you stick to the end.
All right. Dr. Oyama, what's good? I'm a raw squad up.
I'm a raw squad up, brother Ankh. I'm a raw squad up to the Amara Squad members on the panel. Peace and power to the elders on the panel. Peace and power to everyone under the sound of my voice, the people who are listening live and the people who will be listening in archives. I'm a raw squad up.
Mm-hmm. Brother Smash Rockwells, I'm a raw squad up.
Peace. I'm a raw squad up. Peace to all the elders. Thank you guys for having me here. I'm looking forward to a beautiful discussion. Let's get it in.
Brother Nahishi, what's good, brother? I'm a raw squad up.
I'm a raw squad up. Massey Warriors, spears are flying. I'm just here to support the team and appreciate the elders having me here.
All right. What we got? Who forget? Brother Wuja, what's good, man? I'm a raw squad up.
I'm a raw squad up, and peace to the panel, peace to the Amara Squad, and I really appreciate to be in the company of our elders to join us for this very much needed discussion. So peace, thanks, and say peace to the listening audience who's listening now, and those who be listening in the archive.
Hey, look, shout out to all the families, all the clans, Mossy Clan Warriors, Dagger Squad. You know what I'm saying? And Shawshu Monty Metanetra, man. They in here, man. I'm a raw squad up. And to my favorite brother Sanjetti, what's good, man? I'm a raw squad up. Go ahead, man. Kick that thing, man.
Before we kick it off, I want to say I'm a raw squad up to Sister Naya. I'm not sure if she's going to be joining us later on, but I definitely want to acknowledge the sisters. I'm a raw squad up to Sister Naya.
Voice of fire. You're absolutely right. Appreciate that. Go ahead, brother Sanjetti.
All right, so we got all of our bases covered. Again, we got the Raising Awareness group here with us. This is going to be a great discussion here. Now, the title, as you can see, is Restoring MAAT, From Theory to Practice, a discussion between the generations. So, we know that there's been a lot of discord in our community, for many years. We have people on different sides. We have people who are in line, you have people out of line, you have people who research, people who don't. I mean, it's a lot of things going on, and this is our effort, our demonstration on restoring balance, utilizing the principles of Iwapwele. So that's when you're dealing with character, okay? You're dealing with a cool character, good character. And it's not just about what you're talking about, it's about what you're practicing in your behavior. So that's what we mean by from theory to practice, all right? And it's very important to have discussions, active discussions between our elders and the younger generations and even the generations in between, okay? So, and if we don't have these discussions on a regular basis, then it creates a disconnect. So when we reconnect back together, relink, reestablishing laws, rules, camaraderie, cohesion. This is what we mean by MAAT. So this is our discussion. So what we want to do here is set the precedents and the the tempo for how we're going to do this discussion. And here are our objectives. We want to demonstrate critical thinking in group discussion. So it's important for all parties involved to do critical thinking and to put that in the forefront and not the emotion in the forefront. Okay. Even when we're dealing with emotional issues, et cetera, like that, we can take our higher mind and put it in the front and allow that to drive us to the goal. We want to demonstrate group problem solving skills. And this is what this is about, because we're always seeing people with problems. People are beefing and doing scholarship that's like rap type battle, et cetera, all out of control. Well, where's the skills at? There's no problem solving skills. So we want to demonstrate that here. We want to demonstrate balanced character and empathy. Empathy, in other words, putting yourself in another person's shoes to see that person's perspective. Not only that, you want to be able to perceive that person as having a valid perspective. Because a lot of times we see the other person as not being valid. That person has agency as well. The importance of intergenerational cohesion that I mentioned earlier. So that's cohesion and balance and interworkingness between the generations, okay, as a well-oiled machine. You have older parts, you have newer parts, etc., all working together. Utilization of African concepts to solution planning and action. So when you have a discussion of different views, you need to have a solution in mind. So when you come to the table and you're bringing a problem or an issue, you should come with a solution already and ready to have it put in action. And lastly, rules regarding our audience who are listening in, who might be in the chat. We ask that you pretty much really save your comments until after the discussion. If you put anything in the comments, please keep it short. Of course, no profanity, no nasty talk, no ignorance, because this here is the higher-minded conversation. Okay. So here, I want to start off with two main quotes. This is the first one here. And I want to make it plain that the books from the University Kemet Press is the official catalog of the Amara Squad as well. And it's also spreading among the Kemetic temples as well. Okay. So I want to start off with this wisdom from University Kemet Press. Instructions for self-mastery. Act when matters have not yet emerged and when things are still small. Okay. So don't wait till things blow up. Handle them right away. If you miss a step, it becomes difficult to go back and correct it later. Something that would have been simple becomes difficult because you did not act while matters were small. The fragile is easily dissolved, the minute easily dispersed. All things are fragile in their beginnings, and those things that are tiny can be easily scattered. If you are entering a situation that is mature, you can see that you are already too late. Things are no longer fragile or minute, that nine shouldn't be there, disregard. Then usually you have to use force to change things. So you want to catch any issues and conflicts, catch them right away, deal with them right away. And that's what we're doing here. Lastly, we want to look at Ptah Hotep. We always honor our ancestors. So at the top, you see there's the metal nectar there. In the middle, that is the transliteration. We're not going to read all of that. You can go back and pause this video, and you can check my translation if you like. So let's go ahead and move this around. So Ptah Hotep teaches us this. If you are powerful, you should make respect of you through knowledge. Not aggression, not trash talk, but through knowledge and calmness of speaking. Don't command the head or give orders except for guidance. For defiance leads to error. Don't let your mind get big. In other words, don't get big-headed, or don't let your ego get out of whack. And it won't be humble. Don't be inactive, but beware when you tread. When you answer a speech and it's flaming, prepare yourself, control yourself. So that prepare yourself, self-control that goes along with the previous quote of self-mastery. So those of us who are, who claim to be comedic, it's important to consult the words of the ancestors. Consult the words of the ancestors. There you will find your wisdom. And you also consult your elders to find wisdom. Okay, so now let's get to our panel here. Let me stop the screen share. So that sets the precedence for how we're going to move forward. Now we're going to go to the first question. What is ego? So I'm going to give it to our elders here from the Raising Awareness group, and to give your perspective on what ego is. And we'll start with our Sinware or Elder Mku MZ. What is ego?
I'm sorry, Sunwear. I think your mic is still muted. If you can unmute yourself.
Hotep family, I did. Thank you. Hotep family.
Hotep.
I'm honored to be here on the panel with the Amara Squad, and hopefully we'll have a good build tonight. And we'll take advantage of this. This will be a great start in establishing a better relationship. We had one before, but this will make it for a better and more stronger relationship. And I appreciate you guys inviting me and my fellow elder and Kufu of the Raising Awareness group here to speak tonight. You asked me about ego. Okay. I guess the best way to look at it is, what is the difference with egocentrism and egocentric? So we have to understand that there's a difference between the two. Somebody who has egocentrism as if you want to call it a negative trait, would have the inability to differentiate between their self and other people. So that doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing, but it can be. But you lose yourself by being egocentric. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, being egocentric, that person would be considered, at most cases, the center of attention, almost like a narcissist. Narcissist is a whole different, category of somebody who's at the extreme level of egocentrism. But egocentric can be a negative trait when you are always constantly looking to be the center of attention. There are times when you can be up front, be the center of attention. But once you get to the point where you are the extreme of that, that's what we're talking about. I think the egocentrism is not what we want, not what we want to talk about, but I think the egocentric is the issue here. And that's what I think about the ego. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to pass to Sinware Olatunji. Same question. What is ego?
First of all, I'd like to thank Amara Squad for inviting me. It's an honor to be here, to be with all of the brothers and sisters, Dr. MAAT, as well as the listening audience. Some of you I've actually met in person, so already have what I think is a pretty good working relationship. Some better than others. I've actually talked to regularly. Ego for me, when I look at the ego, it's different than just having a degree of self-assuredness. Ego is a person who it borders on arrogance in terms of how that person conducts themselves in regards to other people and other issues. It becomes conceit. It's total self-importance at the expense of everybody else. That's the way I see ego. So that's the short answer for me.
Okay, Dua, thank you for that. We'll go to our brother Kufu. If you want to make a comment on the same question.
Hotep. This is Brother Kufu. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone in Amara Squad for having me on the panel and to be able to speak on this particular subject of tonight. To me, the short answer would be, and I think Mku explained it very well, but for me, it would be, I would define it as an inflated self-esteem. It goes like the old saying where your mom might have said too much of a good thing can be bad, or somebody might have told you that. So for me, it's an inflated self-esteem. It can, as Mku said, it can be a good thing, but it also can be a bad thing. It's and to me, when I think about ego, always thinking about the scales of my eye, how you weigh that heart against the feather. And if the heart is heavier than the feather, then we know the rest of the story. So that would be my short answer. It's just an inflated self-esteem when we look at egotism and egocentric. So that would be my definition.
All right, Dua, thank you for that, family. All right, so Dr. Ma'at, like, what is your same question? What do you think ego is?
All right, I share the same sentiments. Let me cut my camera on. I'm sorry. I share the same sentiments as our elder Baba Nku on ego. Ego can be it can be negative and positive. Ego is simply self-importance, and so I want to briefly come from the community of self. Dr. Naeem Oxbar's book, and in this book, he tells us that that the ego is a vital component of the self. Okay, he said the ego is the part of the self that speaks up for the rights of the individual. He said the ego's specialized function is to make sure that the individual needs of a person's self are not being violated. So that's the positive side of having an ego. But the ego, when the ego begins to rule the self, that's when you have a problem. And that's when the ego becomes negative, when the ego begins to rule the self. And he talks about that. He says that one serious consequence of slavery and societal oppression of African Americans was the retardation of the ego. He says when the ego is retarded, people don't like themselves. When the ego is retarded, people destroy themselves directly, indirectly, without caring. And he says when the ego is retarded, it fails to motivate the memory to remember, and the reasoning of the members of the community fall down on their job. So he says, that the ego becomes a negative thing when it becomes the tyrannical ruler over the community of self. So I agree 100% with the elder Baba Nku that, having an ego is not necessarily, a negative thing. It can be positive. We're supposed to have an ego. If you look at the components of self, will, reason, consciousness, senses, and all of these other components of self, you're supposed to have an ego. But when the ego begins to rule us, that's when it becomes negative. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right. Okay. Excellent. All right. So, Brother Nahisi, do you want to comment on that? What is ego?
Thanks. It's nothing wrong with having an ego, but it's the abundance of the ego. Because we look at ego would be the Latin word for I. So if everything deals with you as I, then that means that you have overinflated your ego. And that's why we need to really work as teams so we can all be on the same level instead of just one individual whose self-esteem has been, overrated. That's all I say. But I agree with the elders and everybody else.
All right, excellent. Hey, Jonathan, Smash, what's your take on that? All right, he probably stepped away. All right, so we're gonna go to the next. Asar, so what is your take on what the ego is?
Okay, peace. Can y'all hear me well? I was told that my mic was low beforehand.
Yes, brother. So we can hear you.
Loud and clear, or am I still low?
You're louder, but it's just as you talk, your volume is like intermittent. So I don't know. But I can hear you now. So I just keep talking. We'll be able to work it out.
Okay. So you know me dealing with languages and things. Uh, I like to have a more precise definition of things, and so I, open my old psychology book from Bernstein, Roy, Sproul, and Wickens, college version, 1991, and I've always had this question about what does the ego mean? Do Africans have the same type of concept? And can you accurately transfer that to an African? And so we know that this concept of ego comes from Freud, and so in this text, page 543, it gives the definitions, and so I want to briefly just say what it is, but we got to understand the ego in context of the other so-called layers of personality types, or the structure of the personality, not personality types, but the structure of the personality. So it's just one of those terms. So he breaks it down into three structures. There's the id, the ego, and then the superego. So according to this text, the id is a reservoir of unconscious energy, sometimes called psychic energy or libido, which includes the basic instincts, desires, and impulses with which all people are born. The id seeks immediate satisfaction, regardless of society's rules or the rights or feelings of others. In other words, the id operates on the pleasure principle, which guides people toward whatever feels good. Throwing the temper tantrum at your noisy neighbor's front door would reflect an id impulse. As children, however, they learn that doing whatever they want is not always acceptable. Drawing with mom's lipstick on the living room wall might be fun, but it might also lead to a scolding. As parents, teachers, and others place more restrictions on the expression of the id impulses, a second part of the personality, the ego, or the self, evolves from the id. The ego is responsible for organizing ways to get what a person wants in the world. It operates on the reality principle, making compromises between the unreasoning demands of the id and the practical constraints of the real world. The ego is the executive of the personality because it tries to get needs met while protecting people from the harm that might result if they become aware of, let alone immediately acted out, their id impulses. Lastly, the more experience people have with the rules and morals of society, the more they tend to adopt them. As a result, children learn that certain behaviors are wrong and will even scold themselves for doing bad things. Introjection is the term Freud used for this process of internalizing parental and societal values into the personality. Introjected values should and should not form the third component of the personality, the superego. Should not, the things people come to believe are wrong, make up the part of the superego known as the conscience. Pressure to conform to shoulds, the ideal behaviors that people believe are right, comes from a second part of the superego known as the ego ideal. The superego might be thought of as operating on the morality principle, since violating either category of its rules results in guilt. And so I go through the direct, saying meanings, because I find that, people use the term ego, but it's really out of context and it's really not in alignment with the data. And so given that this is a European concept, I always want to go to the Europeans for the understanding of their concepts. So that's how I defined it for now. And I will pass it on.
All right, good. So we have various perspectives here. So so Ankh, what is your perspective of the ego?
You know, I just like to use, first of all, I like to shout out the Black Panther, man. Mossy clan warrior up, brother. My fault, I forgot you earlier, yo. My mistake.
It's all
Where
good,
you,
brothers.
where you at?
Razors flying, pseudos is
All right. So I just like to go to the classic dictionary. To make it real simple. Like Brother Saw said, most times we're using it out of context. And it's simple. A person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. You know what I'm saying? So really, who taught us what ego was? Right? Like somebody gave us the wrong definition. We never took time to look it up. You know, we're lacking self-esteem. We're lacking self-worth, self-importance. And so people always say, brother, you got an ego. And they're using it out of context. Because it's simply self-esteem, self-worth, self-importance. And this is what we lost in the transcontinental kidnapping trade. We lost our self-worth. So I just want to just put that out there. We need to really start to define things the way they really are.
All right. Wuja, what you got?
All right. Pretty much since I'm coming behind what everybody else said, I really don't have to add to it. I think between what everybody said, you know, I concur with that. I do want to say that I think that a topic of ego alone is a topic and subject that we could actually do a whole show on in and of itself. So I want to let everybody know that it is bigger than what we are defining. We're trying to keep it simple tonight, and so I just concur with what everybody else said.
All right, excellent. Panther, what you got? You got anything?
I agree with Brother Asar.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, overall, what I think in regards to ego, I pretty much can concur, you know, overall what's being shared. A lot of times we're really describing behavior, and the behavior that we're describing is more so arrogance, you know, because, you know, everyone is going to have a sense of self. And of course, sometimes we can have someone with an overinflated sense of self, leading to narcissistic behavior. So when you look in the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, edition 5, you know, it can talk about that. Doesn't mean we go around diagnosing people, but I can kind of give you a concise idea of those types of characteristics that we can look out for. So it's usually arrogance that we're describing. I think we can all agree to that. Okay, now our last question before we get into more specifics. What is scholarship? Because in our community, you know, we have people who call themselves scholars, but don't specialize in any field. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to school for it. You could be an autodidact, but if you haven't gone to school, you still have to go through the same amount of study that a specialist does. You can still do it on your own, and you still need experience. So, and that's what qualifies you as a scholar per se. And so again, a lot of times these terms are being thrown around loosely and people aren't defining them, you know, at the beginning of their conversation. So question, and I'm going to pass it here. What is scholarship? So we'll start with our elder Mku. What is scholarship?
What's that? I don't know. I think I'm gonna try to keep it simple here on the scholarship. I know in my mind, and I'm not going to no dictionaries. I'm just going off the top of my head. It is an academic study. Could be an academic study. Could be self-study. It's definitely achievement, and it's learning at a higher level. How you get there is any number of ways. Everybody on this panel could probably tell you how to get there. But in my mind, this is what it is. You're learning. It could be book. It could be, you know, the book knowledge. You said the autodidact. How you say the word autodidact?
An autodidact.
Okay, there you go. Autodidact. Through academic study, academic achievement, classical ways, going to school, all those different things. So I just want to keep it simple. I think that's what scholarship is, a higher level of learning and of knowledge.
All right, excellent. All right, Dua, thank you for that. Sunware, our elder Olatunji, what is your perspective on scholarship?
Well, for me, scholarship denotes serious study in a particular field or several fields of research, etc., or any issue that's relative to life in and of itself. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a degree, but you should show a high level of acumen in the subject matter in which you are discussing. So that scholarship becomes important. I know some people think you have to write a whole bunch of books, and that does denote scholarship, although some people haven't had the chance to do that for any number of reasons, myself included, although I have written some things. So I think that the most important thing is dedicating yourself to doing, research and learning in a particular field that you're discussing and or sharing information with, and you put a lot of time in doing that. That's the most important thing. If you get a degree in that particular field, that's great. If you get a higher degree, that's even greater, and so on and so on. But to me, the knowing of it is the most important standard of the scholarship in and of itself. I'm just going to use one example. Dr. Henry Louis Gates is considered a scholar. But when one asks what his PhD is in, it's in English literature. And yet, when this whole idea of African-centered scholarship, et cetera, really exploded in the late 1980s, early 1990s, he was the one our enemies put out there to oppose the likes of Sheikh Anta Diop, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, remember Ani, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, he would not have had the scholarship to be speaking to them on levels and dealing with the subject matter of which they had, done the necessary research. So that would be my overall definition of scholarship.
Okay, all right, excellent. Brother Kufu, what's your take on it?
I'll just keep it short and sweet. I think Mku and Olatunji explained it very well. I would say intense, proficient, and concentrated studying and learning. So that's how I would define it.
All right, excellent. All right, Dr. MAAT, what is scholarship?
Brother Tajedi, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, I don't know why for some reason, like my screen is, okay, this is how I blow it up. All right, so you say, what is scholarship? I was listening to everyone's responses. And again, I agree or concur 100% with Baba Mku. I think he hit the nail, the hammer on the nail when he said that that scholarship is high level learning. It's high level learning. It can be defined as serious, detailed study performed by a scholar, right? And then what is a scholar? A scholar will be someone who specializes in a particular area of study. So that's scholarship and scholar. Or scholarship can be defined as money. I know you guys are defining it in the context of, work and higher level learning. But it could be money given to support a student's education. So they're all different, definitions of scholarship. But in this particular context, I know you guys are talking about, high level learning and in detail study. So I concur with all of the responses that have been provided thus far.
All right. Do I thank you, sister. All right. Nahisi, what you got? Maybe he stepped away. All right, going to keep going. All right, Jonathan, I think he fell out. Okay, so let's go to the next. All right, Asar, what do you see as scholarship?
Okay. Again, being the linguophile, I always have to go back to certain roots. And so, a scholar is simply a student and a particular student of a school. And so we can narrow that down to what Dr. MAAT said in terms of a particular subject. But first and foremost, a scholar is one who is a student. And so one who is focused and studies systematically a given body of knowledge, which, we normally break down into a particular school of thought maybe. So, when you talk about scholarship, it's just that pertaining to, that type of knowledge, that type of learning in the process. And so, you could expand into what is good or bad, but that's, subjective. That's another conversation. So I'll keep it within that parameter.
All right, Dua. All right, Ankh, what do you see as scholarship?
It sure as hell ain't hollership, and it sure as hell ain't foolishship, and it sure as hell ain't lookership. Scholars produce scholarly work. We have a lacking of that in our community, lacking of that. But, a scholar produces scholarly work, and I just want to, I don't want to labor that. I want to get to the nitty gritty. Go ahead.
All right, Mujal, scholarship.
All right, to be brief, I agree with everyone else, but I will only add that we have to, when we think of scholarship and we think of scholars, we also have to use the word rigorous, because scholars rigorously inquire about different subject matter, and they actually perform they utilize a proper methodology to advance the subject in which they're inquiring about or they're affiliated with. All right, so I want to make sure people understand that it's rigorous. And I want to add also that since we're asking about ego and scholarship and things, that we really have to start to use these words properly in their proper context and not so loosely, especially titles that are not really appropriate for the work that people are doing or not doing. So we just have to be mindful of that. That's all I want to add.
Okay. All right. And, I'll put my last piece in here. Scholarship, of course, Sar brought up the term, to be a scholar means that you're a student, because that's what the word means. So, are you a student? Are you at the feet of an elder, or are you, in some type of way, whether you're reading that person's work, or it could be an older scholar. It could be that. Scholarship, you're dealing with critical thinking skills, and that's something that's not really emphasized or exercised in the general conscious community. So just some points to look up. Look up Bloom's taxonomy. You want to look that up. That's the higher order thinking. You want to look up the Dogon order of knowledge or hierarchy of knowledge, and you want to look up Hesed. That's something that we all here utilize. It's a Kemetic concept of the correct method. So you want to be able to look at the methods and models of the field for which you are studying, and you have to educate yourself in such. Okay. So that's that. Now let's go to our next. To our elders, do you have any closing remarks just on that before we move on to the details here? We're good. Okay.
I loved everybody's follow-up response. It just brought clarity to the whole idea of scholarship. I think everybody, when you add all of the different responses together, you got the answer. I think all of the responses kind of like, it really brought clarity for anybody that was not clear about what it was. I think everybody, different pieces, it's like every different pieces to the puzzle, and everybody's response just is like they just added to it, just built on it, which is what we're trying to do, build. I think it's a beautiful response.
Brother Sanjay, if I may, I just want to add an afterthought. And I appreciate what somewhere Olatunji just said. So I also want to make it clear that doing scholarship and being a scholar is not something that should be taken lightly, and it's not a title that people should grab and hold on to too loosely. And I think that that's a part of a problem that not the person themselves, but some onlooker may label someone a scholar, or that what they're doing is scholarship, and that is not what they're doing, and so it gets misinterpreted. And the reason why I say these things is because with scholarship comes certain responsibilities. It also comes certain actions and reactions, and the way it's conducted, similar to how a rules of any type of sport. If you are a basketball player, then you're going to conform to those rules, and so on and so forth. And so scholarship has its own baggage, if you will. And I just want to make sure people are aware of that. That, in other words, not everyone is a scholar that we either call a scholar or they call themselves a scholar. I just want to make that clear.
Excellent.
Sanjay, let me ask you a quick question. You said to look up Dogon, because I wanted to Google what you said. Dogon.
Hierarchy of knowledge. If you want a quick reference to that, you can go to this here. Start at the Beginning by Dr. Charles Finch. He has a list of it in this book.
What is that?
The Star of Deep Beginnings.
Beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I had that right here. What page is that on?
Yeah. Roman numeral page 15. So that's XVI.
Page 15?
Yeah, Roman numeral 15. So XVI. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. That's what Tepe said. My apologies. Hold on. I was all comedic out. I was looking at Tepe. Hold on.
Hey, Jetty, why you looking for that? Let me say this real fast, brother. Well, that's exactly why the Amara Squad was created. That was part of the vision, to put some authentic scholarship back into the community, because, we recognized that the community had fallen from scholarship and was really on the pseudo-ship. You know what I'm saying? Everything was pseudorized. Information was a lot of misinformation. It was based off of white people's misinterpretation of our great African civilizations. So that's why we actually formed the Amara Squad. That was the vision, to bring scholarship back into the community with respect of the ancestors and the elders.
Okay. All right. So we'll come back to that. I got you on that, Dr. Mott.
Okay.
Did somebody say something?
I was waiting for you to give up the page number.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. All right. So that's Roman numeral 18. So it's XVI. So I'm looking at it right. I'm looking at it right now. So it's not Roman numeral 15. It's Roman numeral 18.
XV. That's three eyes then.
Yeah. Jerry so, Benny so, Bolo so, and so they. So we don't have time to go into it, but that's a model.
Okay.
All right, got it? And the Tepe Seb is on 15. Okay. All right. Okay, now we want to talk about how do we get to this conversation? What brought us here? So there's been some recent debates and discussions that brought us here. So we want to get this clarity. Now that we've laid the foundation, now we can move forward in MAAT. So I want to have Brother Asar Imhotep come in and discuss his perspective on how some of these things came to being, especially regarding to the recent debate regarding the excellent works of Diop. And then, we'll have our elders bring their responses in afterwards with that. Asar?
Peace, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. So we're here trying to an extent reconcile a situation as a result of a conversation that was had on the Raising Awareness Group's YouTube channel, where the guests were our three esteemed guests, Brother Mku, Brother Olatunji, and Brother Kufu, with two other guests, Mfudishi and Dr. Taka Kilimanjaro of Ukemic Press. And so the title of the video was Egos Out of Control. And this is one of the reasons why we started off the program defining egos, because ego was never defined in the actual conversation. And so in that process of discussing things in general, then the conversation went into specifics, and then individuals were named. And so amongst the people named in the conversation was Sarah Sutanseti, Young Pharaoh, the Amara Squad in general, and then Asar Imhotep in particular. And there were a lot of claims made that were not justified, and in my opinion,
I spent the whole week getting the show together and I'm stuck in the car. This can't be happening.
Don't start.
This cannot be happening to me right now.
Don't start.
I need to mute your mic. Okay. So there were a lot of claims made and comments made about subjects that the panel was not privy to, were ignorant of, and there was a lot of lumping into, one singular blanket concept for which we have this discussion now, what we're having on egos. So some of the things that were brought up in that conversation, and a lot to do, saying with me and my name, we was called a race traitor by Mfudishi. Dr. Taka claimed that because, we're having a public debate about a claim made by Diop, that we're digging up Diop's name and slandering it by the mere fact of the conversation. And Mfudishi also called us an agent. And so then the aspect of public conversation about stuff was brought up. So the idea that we should have these types of debates and stuff in private about public information that are in books and have been discussed for a number of decades in the public, in the university and media sphere. So we're just supposed to automatically just go back into the private and have a discussion to resolve what ultimately in private I don't know. That there was a claim by Mfudishi that we in a another discussion that we had in terms of science versus spirituality and properly defining the two, that somehow we were arguing that we didn't need spirituality. And, you know, the whole concept of eldership came up in the scholarship of Van Sertima and Lomax. Had the Meta been deciphered, and Walter Williams. Their acts, again, in Fedici, what is our end goal? They don't understand. And, you know, a whole host of things and claims, you know, saying, man. And so one of my problems with the dialogue was that most everyone on the panel has direct access to everyone in the Amara Squad. And not one individual ever contacted, either through social media or through a phone call, with their cares or concerns regarding allegedly our behavior, or to even get clarity on any perspective for which there is obviously a lot of misunderstanding. And so in the end, because there were no direct quotes, there was no evidence whatsoever, it sounded like a group of old men on the porch gossiping like a bunch of middle schoolers. And it was highly disappointing for me, especially with some individuals who I hold in high regard. And it's not so much that our names came up, or at least my name in the conversation. Every other week, there's a video made by someone who mentions my name or someone's name in the squad. It just comes with the territory. I was just more depressed about the sloppy scholarship involved from a group of individuals who are promoting scholarship, especially from someone who has written books on research methods, that this individual didn't even have the basic research skills to look up some of the things which he could have got clarity on. It's Googlefiable, if we can coin a term, a lot of the stuff that was misunderstood. And they would have found the answers to some of these cares and concerns. And so it's on one end, you know, I'm not surprised, but on the other end, again, I'm disappointed. Especially, again, since we have direct access to these individuals, and no one reached out at one time. And this is ironic because my last book, Nesubiti, chapter 16, is dedicated to African concepts of leadership and elderhood. And so I'm very familiar on the characteristics of an elder and how they're supposed to operate within a society. And based on a lot of the commentary that was had on that video, it's clear that, at least with me, because my name was brought up the most, my name was brought out directly, that y'all don't even know who I am. And so I wanted to have a brief conversation and introduce y'all to who I am. And so I'm just going to share a few slides that I put together. And then I will gladly pass the mic and I'll be quiet for the rest of the duration. So
take your time, bro.
I titled this brief presentation. Hold on, let me go full screen. Full screen. This is going to be a second as it comes up, and y'all let me know when it shows up on y'all. So, any second now, it would appear. For some reason, it just does this. Come on. See, this is a slower computer, which is why I consume this month. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I titled this, Let Me Reintroduce Myself, because ultimately my character was slandered in that program. And the underlying sentiment is that I'm someone who is not worthy enough to challenge certain ideas from certain elder scholars. And I'm hoping I can, reinforce something. So this is something I don't do on a regular, I don't do it at all. And, because it's unnecessary. But at this point, it's necessary. So the underlying sentiment was that I was anti-Diop and anti-Obama, that I was throwing their name through the mud. And it's very surprising, given the fact of who I am, what organizations I'm a part of, and what I represent. And so, again, this is my latest work, Nesubuti King in Ancient Egyptian. And I note again that the second to the last chapter, after chapter 16 is the conclusion, I have a whole discourse on elders and leadership in the community. So when somebody asks me about my end game, what's my end game, what's my mission, it's clear that they haven't read any of my works. And so the very last book that I published has to deal with leadership in the African world community and the lack thereof. And so I draw from indigenous African systems to remind us what leadership is in the African context and their responsibilities. And so, of course, this has to deal to a certain extent with elders. And so what I saw was unelder behavior. I saw childish behavior, and I expected more. So, hold on, let's move this up. Okay. So, what I have here to start off, I want to start off, and believe me, I'm going somewhere with this, so stay with me as I do this. So, this is a Skype conversation from 9/4/2016. There's a young man out in Israel, Tel Aviv, Israel, who belongs to the Baluba people of Central Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo. And every now and then we'll get together and we'll exchange notes, comparing the ancient Egyptian language with Chiluba, his native tongue. And so he's familiar with my work, he's familiar with the scholarship, and he's actually involved in that process as well. So he's doing something in his own way, and sometimes we compare notes. So this is a transcript of it, just copy and paste. So I say, this is me, Asar Imhotep. This is Patrick Kupuya Shiuma. So Moyo's a Chiluba word just meaning greetings. So greetings, how are you? He replies back. I say, I am well. I saw you logged in and I decided to say, hey, how's things been where you're at? So he replies, that's very nice of you. I'm still in Israel, still researching. So I reply, respect. Continue your studies. You're on the verge of some major discoveries. And so Patrick says, I'd say I think each one of us brought his stone to the building. You know, Professor Bilolo spoke about you to people back home. He continues, he's the elder. And if he says your name among other elders, it means a lot for a lot of the Luba Nation, especially those involved in recovering our history. And I replied, that's an honor. And then we continue our, saying discourse. But I have this highlighted for a reason, that there's a Professor Bilolo who speaks about me to his people back home in the Democratic Republic of Congo. He's the elder, and if he says your name among other elders, it means a lot for all the Luba Nation, especially those involved in recovering our history. So who is this Professor Bilolo that he speaks of? So this is Dr. Mubabinge Bilolo. He was born in 1953 in Kabwe and Kaka in the Kasai region of the Congo Kinshasa. He's a citizen of the Luba Nation or the Bukama Empire. He is actually of royal lineage. He is a prince of the Chinima or Shinima Nome, of the Princedom of Kabiye, the Kingdom of Ikole or Matamba. So he is a scholar who is also of royal blood. He is the head of the Sheikh Anta Diop Center for Egyptology within the African Institute for Future Studies, which is an institution of the African Union for the fundamental research and the formation of the inventors of the African future, with headquarters in Kinshasa, Congo. So he's the head of the Sheikh Anta Diop Center for Egyptology. Keep in mind these names I'm dropping. He is very well educated in a number of disciplines. And so he spent 25 years in university training that involved 4 phases of study. And so the first phase was philosophy, anthropology, sociology, and African religions, theology, and human sciences. The second phase was philosophy, social sciences, and fundamental theology. The third phase was Egyptology, ethnology, African studies, and religious sciences. Phase 4 was political science, sociology, infrastructure, economics, and the environmental management. He was trained by the best specialist of African linguistics and Bantu, Professor Dr. Kadima Kamuleta, by the best specialist of African oral literature, Professor Mufuta Kabemba, and by the best specialist of African religions. Bilolo taught Quranic religion and other African religions in 1978 and 1979, as well as Eastern religions in African philosophy, philosophical hermeneutics, and philosophy of language, from Ptah Hotep, Kagimni, Wigginson, Austin, Sear, Ricord, Heidegger, Gadamer, and others. He taught the concept of nature in Akhenaten, Plato, Aristotle, Augustinus, Descartes, Kant, Hegel, Edgar Morin, etc., before coming to Europe to finish his PhD. I'm going somewhere, man. So he has written a number of texts. And so this is one of his texts. He mainly writes in French and German. Well, he only writes in French. Well, mainly writes in French and German. He also writes in his native Chiluba as well. So this is towards a Egyptian Coptic and Luba dictionary, Bantu vocabulary, and Egyptian Coptic, and the essays of Holmberg and Benga. Here are a few other of his books in French. This Tuleshi Kapia de Yanga Chikam is in Chiluba. Everything else is in French. This is his book on Amen. The creator and creation and Memphite thought of Armana, and a whole host of other texts. This isn't all of it. There's more text. This is from the short German Wikipedia page on Dr. Mubabinge Bilolo. And so I have highlighted here in orange something in particular, this aspect. So, if you type in Mubabinge Bilolo in, Google, probably one of the first pages that will come up is this German rendering of it. But I'm just going to highlight this right here. It's written in German and I translate it. So it's going to be on the next slide. So this is the German. So if people are reviewing this, you can you know, check my German, which is very bad. So I had to get Google assistance on most of these words. And so it says here at the top, topics of his scientific work are Egyptology, history of African philosophy, African religion and philosophy, the philosophy of history, and the history of philosophy of history. I know that sounds confusing. In 2013, he was awarded the International Prize for African Egyptology in Paris and was admitted to the Circle of Negro African Scholars in Belgium. Included in that group is Sheikh Anta Diop, Keith Zerbo, who's the editor of the first UNESCO Methods book on the general history of Africa. Obenga, we all know who Theophilo Obenga is, and Wimwinyi Kweshi, who's another influential theologian out of the continent. So a lot of these names may be new to some folks because they're more well known in the Francophone world, in the German-speaking African world, and so English has a ways to catch up to the knowledge of these African scholars. So at the end of 2013, on the occasion of his 60th jubilee, so he was awarded the African Egyptology Prize for African Egyptology in Paris and was admitted into the circle of these esteemed Africans. So when I say Dr. Bilolo, there's a group of individuals. There's a very few group of individuals you can put this person in, and that is with Sheikh Anta Diop, that is with Obenga, and these other scholars and theologians that we mentioned here, who are big names in Africa. Again, I'm going somewhere. So we all heard about this 1974 Cairo Symposium, but not many are familiar with the 1993 symposium that was held in Barcelona, Spain, for which Dr. Alan Anselin, Benga, Bilolo, and others, continued that discourse from the 1974 symposium. So Bilolo was one of those individuals there. And so this is a screenshot of an email that I received way back in 2013, just a little bit after his induction amongst these pillars of African scholarship. And so it's in French. So I just wanted to get the screenshot so, those reviewing can review this and look over my translation. And so what happened, let me give a little background. There was an email sent that was asking about me in my scholarship because I was using the Chiluba language, and I'm obviously not a Chiluba speaker, at least by native blood. And so some of the scholars wanted to know who I was and how the heck I started knowing all this Chiluba. And so Dr. Bilolo is one who responded to them. And this was one of the second emails. And so we'll get to the first one in a little bit. Again, this is all coming to a point. The author of the first email, his last name is Ngangabuka. And so this is Bilolo addressing him. And then he goes, "It was I who responded to the letter of June 8, 2012. During my last visit to Houston, just 12 months ago, I met the Houston group around the Sar Imhotep in the Department of Black Studies of the University of Houston. One of Asar Imhotep's parents seems to be from Mozambique. This is not accurate per se. He's recalling my DNA test, where my maternal DNA went to Mozambique. So that's what I informed him, but he interpreted it as that's where my mother is from directly. But that's not the case. So this could explain why he finds himself more easily in the Chiluba language. I do not think that the Luba Online Dictionary and that the Luba Dictionary of Morrison can explain his whole approach. And I put in parentheses to the study of Chiluba and Chicam. And Chicam is just Egyptian. In addition, in this group, there are young people who come from different countries of the Black world. I had asked Dr. Kalamba Nsapo to involve him in the Melange Ngindu Musheta and other works that will follow. In short, we carefully follow his research while leaving him a great space to exploit his own intuitions. Have a good day. He usually ends all his emails with Osiris's son. And then this is my name in Chiluba. Mwana Mushkila wa Chijila. So y'all may not know me by that name, but that's my Chiluba name. So that book, shortly after that, I actually got an email from Dr. Kalamba. And I've already worked with Dr. Kalamba because I translated one of his books from French into English, and you can find it on Amazon. And hold on, let me pull it. Yes, Praying in Africa. And so he's comparing the concept of prayer in Africa, and he's using some prayers native to Chiluba and in comparison to Akhenaten's hymn to the Creator. And so that is my translation into English from French, Dr. Kalamba and Sapo. So that was published in 2012 when we finished that. So this is 2013, and then in 2014 was published the other book that they mentioned. So I'm just translating from the French, and I'm holding it in my hands. Unity and Plurality of the Truth. Essays in honor of Professor Dr. Alfonso Ngindu Musheta. And again, this is another powerful African theologian, even though in the Christian set, he kind of crosses many boundaries. And so this is edited by Kalamba Sapo and Dr. Malamba Mpoyi. So this was published in 2014. And so my article is chapter 4, right after Bilolo's, on the etymology of MAAT and its origin in family. So again, I'm getting to a point. And so this is the first email, and this is my translation, or at least of the first part. The other part doesn't pertain to this. So the other individual who we mentioned earlier, he says, June 8, 2012, one of you made the following suggestion. And so that's what Bilolo was responsive to. So Bilolo was saying that I think he can better, talking about me and Sarmhotep, can discuss Muntu and Intu better than most Luba speakers. He has an article on the Chikam Remechu, or the word Remech for the people in ancient Egyptian, and the terms Muntu, Luntu, Tuntu, Baluntu, etc., as well as on Chikam Intu and these other forms, Kamantu, Chikam, and Chibantu. Attested in Coptic, it is not common in Chiluba in the broad sense. Excuse me, attested in Coptic is not that common, but in Chiluba in the broad sense has all these terms. You have certainly received an invitation to visit the link to sarmhotep.com to have necessary information regarding the new book from this relatively young adult researcher. So they're talking about me and my research in the Congo. So everybody that's emailed on there are professors of theology and linguistics in Congo, and some are spread out in Europe, in France, and places like Belgium, things of that nature. So he mentioned that when he came to Houston. So this is a screenshot of a video that I have uploaded of Dr. Muba being able to when he came to Houston in 2010. And so I had translated, I'm sorry. Okay. I had translated, parts of this speech because he's speaking in French, and this young lady that we have here was actually from Nigeria. We had her translating. So this is the link that you can visit. And so during the course of this this talk, and he's relating the Egyptian language and arguing that it is a Bantu language. So that's the crux of his art. Of his talk. It's about almost 2 hours long. So at 3 minutes and 32 seconds, this is when I just introduced him. So, so now he's beginning to talk. And so he says, yes, thanks, greeting the audience. He says, thank you for your presence. When we left Dallas, we thought that everyone had already left because they were having problems with renting their car. He had visited Dallas. He actually has family in Dallas, but he lives in Belgium. He's from Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. And so most of the people, had already left, but there was a remnant that stayed. And I made sure that I recorded it. So, those who didn't attend could, get the wisdom of Dr. Bilal. So, but we are going to take Mr. Asar out to talk over a glass of beer. It'll probably been a smoothie because I don't drink alcohol. As you know, he's a great researcher with regard to ancient Egyptian and Negro African languages. In 4 minutes and 36 seconds, he says, talking about me again. So all these sidelights is when he's mentioning my name. He plays on the methodological level, Mr. Asar. Methodologically, very important role that most scientists as well as linguists and so-called Egyptologists have not yet noticed. For me, who knows the problem, I tell them, the Egyptologists, you have a genius who is budding and that you must all support. In 5 minutes and 28 seconds, I said that Asar plays a strategic role, methodologically, in the research of the connections or in the demonstrations of the Bantu character of the ancient Egyptian language and culture. In 18 minutes and 45 seconds, he mentions my name again. He says that and the work that Mr. Asar has done is to check whether I'm right. So he's telling you here that he's not just accepting what I'm saying, that he goes and verifies everything that I write. And he applied it to very strategic words, like the word God, goddess, like the word Osiris, that he sometimes write as Asar, and that spelling there. Good. A word like Osiris and many other words where he tries taking now the dictionary entries, the Chibantu, and we teach from Bantu languages, we see that we are able to contribute, and he's talking about to Egyptology, and to go beyond. Therefore, to go beyond what exists today and position Africa at the forefront of research on the Nile Valley, to position it at the forefront of its research so as to be the best. In 20 minutes and 42 seconds, he says, now, starting from the Bantu languages, we can see that we are able to contribute to go beyond what exists today, to position Africa at the forefront of research about the Nile Valley. This work that I'm doing here, Asar has control. I mean, it's just his way of saying verified. He went even further. So he's saying that I've done some work, but Asar has went further. He has discovered this. When we say origin in Lingala, we say Ibandeli is the beginning. Indela, Indeli. So when you see me say Madu Indeli or Madu Indela or Madu Indeli, this is the word, this is what Indela and Indeli mean. Is the birth, the generation. By Indela means those who generated us or those who begot us. And if we take the nuances in Lingala, it means that which is at the origin, at the source, the primary cause. So I highlight this because he's saying that I advance his work. And so, yeah, so that's that. And I'm doing this way because you have to understand that this individual, who the African world in Egyptology and linguistics, who is of royal lineage in the Congo, who speaks positively to me about all the elders, to all the elders in the scholastic community and in his community, where people all the way in Israel is hearing about this, not only admires the work I do, asks other scholars to ensure that they publish my work in their work, and that, and he told me personally, he said he wouldn't, that he told Dr. Nsaba not to publish it until, he had an article for me in there. And so someone who advances his work and also goes through the process of verifying it, not just regurgitating what he says, that should tell you something. So for those people who don't know, he's like one of my main mentors, the main reason why I use Chiluba in my work. And, sought him out a good number of years ago. So it's about 10 years now. I have been studying, saying under him. And so for this person to do all of this, and keep in mind that he's in the Diopian school. So when we talk about all those are people in the Diopian school. And that's the reason why I make sure I highlight that he's the head of the Sheikh Anta Diop Center for Egyptology. And it's published with Obenga and others. And so when I'm thinking about elders and what elders do, he's one of those people I consider an elder. And so here's another email from, for example, Dr. Wade Nobles. And so I copied and pasted the next slide so you can see it fully, but this is a screenshot from my email. So this was in 2014, in February. And so Kenneth Nunn is the one who, no, my bad. It's Kenneth Nunn who sent the email. He CC'd Dr. Wade Nobles. But this is going to be important here. He says, Brother Asar, I am on the planning committee for the ASCAT conference. I am putting together a panel to recognize Dr. Fukiao's, another scholar out of the Congo, to African-centered thought. In particular, the panel process to discuss the teaching and writing of Dr. Fukiao and the contribution he made to our recovery and understanding of the African worldview. Dr. Nobles was originally scheduled to present on the panel, but cannot. He suggested that I contact you instead. I have seen the paper you provided, Dr. Nobles, with your linguistic analysis of the meaning of Amen. It is very good, but somewhat off topic for the panel I have in mind. Do you have another presentation that is more in line with the topic of the panel that I can propose to the planning committee? And so I will forward your information on to them and let them know what they decide. In any event, I look forward to meeting you at the ASCAT conference in Newark. Again, why would somebody like Wade Nobles think of me first to replace him on a panel to honor another well-dignified African scholar? I attend the Diop conference. I've been attending for the last 10 years. And in 2015, I was a featured speaker, and I also got this award from the Diop conference. We keep bringing this name Diop for a reason. As you can see, and it's kind of dusty, so this picture has informed me that I need to dust this award off the wall. But the Diopian Institute for Scholarly Advancement presents to Asar Imhotep the DISO Award for Intellectual Initiative and Academic Action. The 27th Annual Sheikh Anta Diop International Conference, October 16, 17, 2015, Philadelphia, PA. And, there are a lot of individuals that you can put in the Diopian school who contributes and advances the work of Diop. Sorry. So, of course, we know Diop and Dr. Theophilo Bingham. We know Dr. Raketi Alman and Dr. Jacob Carruthers. Others may not know Abu Bukri Musalam, one of Sheikh Anta Diop's proteges, direct proteges. Babakar Sal, another African scholar in the Diopian school. Of course, the first person to formally teach me Medu Neter, Baba Ankh Mira. And of course, one of the latest in that school, Brother Jean-Claude Mbote. Now, keep in mind that Dr. Bilolo, one of the major figures in Africology, Egyptology, and linguistics, makes it a point to talk about my methodical and scientific approach to the study of history, to the point where I advance.
Excuse me, Asar. Excuse me, real quick, Asar. I'm sorry. Did you mean to unshare? Because your screen went black for a second. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, I stopped sharing. That was the last slide.
Okay, all right. Sorry, continue.
No problem. So it
when I say that I'm in the Diopian school, I am bona fide by these elder scholars, and I have the works to prove it. And that's just a few. I could have went on and on, but I didn't want to do that. So when someone like Infodici, someone who makes public arguments that they found 100,000-year-old African woman in a spaceship with locks, and somebody who argues about crystals and chakras and ancient Kemet and using your third eye and all of this other kind of stuff, has the audacity to question my loyalty and agency, it's heartbreaking and it's disappointing, especially from someone who was supposed to be an elder. And someone who on this question is not even qualified to make the kinds of argument that he made on that show regarding my work on the meaning of Kemet, for which he has never read. And the same thing with Brother Taka. As brilliant and accomplished as he is an expert in his field. However, on this question of Kemet, on this thing of linguistics and Egyptology, I am their elders because I've been doing this longer and I've been publishing longer in these fields. And so for y'all to come together and act as if I'm like some lightweight, that who is he to question a point made by Diop, is disingenuous, and y'all are definitely misinformed. And so while I do engage with people in the conscious community, it's because I'm trying to bring all of these African scholars to the forefront of these people in the community. And I know we have personality issues and we deal with them appropriately. But if somebody from the academic world doesn't bring these scholars to them, they will be stuck with old and outdated information regarding their African history. And so, of course, you can tell by my conversation that I feel some kind of way. And again, my perspective, it sounds like a gang of old men gossiping about matters in which they don't know, especially on this meaning of Kemet, for something I've been studying for 20 years and debating with scholars for 20 years. And so, I don't do this often, but I have to remind folks sometimes that, there's no disingenuousness with me. There's no slandering of Obinga and Diop. Diop is a source of acclaim. And this wasn't even focused on Diop. It's on the word itself. But this is how we do in scholarship. You have to name names. We just don't speak in general and then try to have a scholastic conversation. That's not how this rolls. And so I want to say, however, given I did have the opportunity to talk with Brother Olatunji earlier this week and Dr. Daka. And, they both have apologized. Dr. Daka stands firm on two of his points, and the others he's apologized for. And so I acknowledge that publicly. I wish he was here and Infodici was here to have the dialogue, because y'all had the conversation about some things that y'all weren't privy to, and y'all just messed it all up because y'all were not informed. And there are consequences on social media when you do stuff like that, which is why the Amara Squad is policy for us to always have receipts when we're talking about things. and we quote people directly so we don't misconstrue their thoughts. And it's because of situations just like this. And so with that, I've said my piece, and we can continue the conversation.
Okay. Thank you, Asar, for clarifying your perspective. I want to remind everybody that, there were, again, some feelings involved, here. Things got pretty intense. However, we still have the ability to keep things under control and leveled. So I believe that's happening so far. And again, and as Black men and women, we put things on the table, how we feel and perceive things. And then at the end of that, our objective is to come back together and move forward together. And also, as another point of clarity, I had a conversation with Infodishi personally tonight, and we were able to clarify some things and inform him about some things that he was not aware of, which otherwise may not have come to this conversation that leads to this video. So I just want to acknowledge Infodishi that we did have a conversation. And again, and I wish he was here as well, but he was informed of this conversation and what was going to be talked about. So I want to put that out there. Now, do we have any responses from my elders? I'll start with Senator Mku. If you want to, respond to Asar.
Hotep.
All right, Hotep.
Do our brother Asar. I appreciate your comments. I truly understand how you feel about this particular subject and the matter that it was handled. I want to extend my apologies to you, not necessarily for the individuals that had things to say, but for the fact that it came off of the Raising Awareness Group platform and that I was involved in that. Olatunji will have his words to say after I get done. But I understand that in order to be an elder, and I want to show you something real quick. This is your book. Okay. I may not understand it completely, and I haven't read it all yet, but what stands out to me is that when I first got that book, I did not know what paronymy meant. I knew that it was linguistics. I learned a lot more about it when I got into your book. So I have a lot of respect for your scholarship. The importance of us to sit here, me, myself in particular, Brother Olatunji, is to take this shit, and excuse my language, like a man, because we made a mistake, bottom line. And the object of the video meeting that we had, I would equate it to a passion. I think people who are passionate about their people, who want to get the work done, try to get results, sometimes the passion can get inside, and it can burn a fire within you. It can get out of control. Now, I didn't specifically say anybody's name, but the fact of the matter is that I was involved. So I have to take responsibility for that. My whole idea here is to foster the goodwill, admit the mistake, obviously, that I made. I do have an empathy for how you feel. And the squad in particular, every individual there, I apologize to. We can do better than that. We'll stand on our square as men, and we'll regain your confidence as elders. We didn't get there by mistake, but if you have individual, differences and opinions, we can talk it out like men. And if I knew, I want to give you an MCUism. Let me give you an MCUism. This is my little thing now. And I think I mentioned this to Ankh. We did have a conversation earlier, and I think I mentioned this to Ankh. Hindsight is the wish to recreate the reality of a history that has already been written. We don't have the benefit of hindsight, because once it's done, it's done. We have to live with what we do. Sometimes the wisdom the age, the knowledge, sometimes it does not help us. We are human beings just like everybody else. We have our failings, we have our indiscretions, we make our mistakes. So that's what I'm here to do today. The relationship with the Amara Squad and the Raising Awareness Group and the elders has always been a good one. I think that we probably could have had more contact with each other and maybe better develop the relationship. I think maybe we can do that now, but we'll see how that goes. I don't want to add too much more to it, but I just know that it's important for us to be examples and a model of the African modalities that we are trying to be in a culture that is very, very important to all of us, and that we stress the principles of MAAT and the spirituality of the African. So I will have other things to say as we go on with the meeting here, but I just want to make sure I say those things. It's important. And I want to thank you guys for allowing me to say what I need to say and express yourself. Say what you need to say, get it off your chest. We're men, we'll take it. We'll stand on our square and we'll move on. Dua.
Dua to say that from the beginning, Brother Mku, Brother Olatunji, and Brother Kufu, all was willing to agree to come and have a dialogue with us. And so the other two, for whatever reasons, they didn't show up, but these three said that they are willing, that they're going to do it, and they kept their word. So, you know, it's crazy how I sound. I still think that all three of these men are individuals of integrity. And so I do appreciate you all for dialogue with us and hearing us out. And, you know, and again, you know, we're all grown, so we'll move on, you know, saying from this. But I just appreciate y'all for that. Thank you.
Do it, brother.
All right. Also, Sarah, make sure you check your mic. You were just a little choppy. We heard you, but it was just a little choppy. Sin or Olatunji, you want to you know, come in?
Sure. I'd like to say first and foremost that one, I mentioned some individuals at that meeting, although I never mentioned Asar's name. The main individual on that the Amara Squad. They're not a part of the Mosi clan or the Dagger Squad. So, but I because I was at the meeting, I would you know, and I'm a part of the Raising Awareness. Now I apologize for how everything went down, even though I cannot speak for the individuals involved. They have to do their own thing. As regards to Asar, well,
Elder, 1 second. I didn't mean to cut you off. What did you say about the Mosi clan and the Dagger Squad?
I said I never mentioned them.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. At the as regards to Asar, I don't know if y'all can see this, but I got this probably not long after he wrote it. So I don't have, this is the Bacala of North America. So I've had this probably about maybe 7 years, maybe. So I've supported his work for a very, very long time. And I think Asar knows that. He should, because I've said it to him a number of times. And I've certainly spoken highly of him to others. I've spoken highly of him to Sanjetti. So I respect his dedication, his acumen, and his methodology, and how he does his work. And I'm highly impressed with him. I've told him this to his face, not just the other night, but I've told him this other times as well. And I'm sure he will attest to that if asked. So I've never not supported his work. So I just wanted to say that. As regards to anything else, the individuals that I mentioned, I stand on that. And those individuals there were essentially two people that I spoke of, and that was Seti and Young Pharaoh. Those are the only individuals that I mentioned by name.
You got my backing on that.
Huh?
I said, you definitely got my backing on that. Yeah. And I got your back. Trust me.
Those are the only individuals I mentioned by name. And because and I'll say this again for anybody else, and I'll say this to them, to their face. Anybody that knows me knows that if I say it online, I can say it in person. Their behavior is part of why we did the video that we did. Mm-hmm. It was them and individuals like them that did the video. It wasn't even about the information per se. We could use individuals like them if they cleaned up their behavior. They cleaned up how they did things. We have to be the best examples for what we want others to be. We have to exemplify what we say. And I'm reminded of a conversation I had with Sanjetti earlier today, and I said something to him. And what I said was, in 20 years, all of y'all are going to be where we are. So y'all have to be the example for that next generation. So how y'all conduct yourselves will be extremely important, because we want to not just be putting information out for information's sake. We're trying to save the race. That is our mission, to save the African race. I'm not concerned with any other race. I'm not concerned with any other race's feelings about what I say about them. Period. My only concern is us, both here on the continent, both here in America and elsewhere in the world, as well as on the continent. That's what I'm concerned with. So Native Americans, Hispanics, and all, I don't give a damn about none of them. None of them. And I make no apologies to anybody for that. So that's my statement to that. I've been doing my own, living and working in the Black community and doing other things since I was about 15, 16 years old. So I'm 64 years old now. So I've been at this a long time. I don't know everything, don't claim to know everything. And so I want to make sure that everybody knows that I don't think that I know everything. And I try to be as humble as I possibly can. So I'm going to end my statement with a quote, because this quote reflects me and how I operate at all times. And it goes like this. When a man or woman who is honestly mistaken hears the truth, he or she will either quit being mistaken or cease to be honest. I have always chosen to quit being mistaken. And so in this regard, whatever mistakes I might have made in that meeting, I will quit being mistaken, because that's my goal, because I have to exemplify what I want others to do. And I want y'all to because y'all going to take our place. So we want the best from y'all. As y'all demand the best from us, we also demand the best from y'all. That's our role.
All right. Dua, that was that was heartfelt. I was feeling that. Definitely thank you for that, Elder. Okay. And Kufu, do you want to do you have any comments on that before we move on?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I have utmost respect for Ansar Imhotep, as well as the rest of the Amara Squad. I take part responsibility because Raising Awareness Group, I am the co-founder, and RaisingAwarenessGroup.com is, and Raising Awareness Group Media YouTube page is, part of my platform. I obviously cannot speak for other individuals as I do not have the permission to. But I can say with certainty that the topic of discussion was not aimed in particular at Amara Squad. Myself as well as MKU have actually talked about this subject for some time. I would like to believe that because of some recent events that maybe the particular people had those things on their mind when we had the conversation. MKU actually did 2 presentations, one on integrity and one on critical thought. So this conversation actually veggie back, as I like to say, not piggyback, off of those particular presentations that he did. But once again, have the utmost respect for Asar and Hotep. We both reside in the same home city. I have Asar's books. I've purchased them from him personally. I've seen him plenty of times in various events. I came up to Malife Kente Ashanti Institute, sat in on his lecture, and actually purchased his books from him. As well as you, Sanjeti. When you had your lecture up at Temple University, I was there in the front row. When Amara Squad had their event at Black and Nobel, myself and MKU, our late brother, good brother Ivan, he was there, as well as some others was there as well. So the Raising Awareness Group has always been fully supportive of Amara Squad. And in my presentation, I spoke on this bridge of the youth and the elders. And I'm always conscious of how the youth views me in particular, and in particular, my own child. And when I try to set this example for her moving forward, letting her see me interact with elders and myself and MKU and Olatunji, as well as the other elders, we have a very good relationship. And I think that's important for the people to see, not us bickering and arguing. Information and scholarship is one thing, but it's important for the community, especially our women and children, to see that us as Black men as well as Black females have a good working relationship. And we can agree to disagree on some things, but it's important for them to see us doing things with integrity. And when we have issues, that we're willing to admit that we may have some wrongs and be willing to fix those things and keep that bridge strong. Because as Olatunji said, it's about our race. And I will hope everyone here on this panel cares about that with great importance. So once again, I just want to, apologize for my part, because I was on the panel, and I hope we can mend this bridge and continue building it going forward.
All right. Thank you for those words of wisdom, brother. Definitely right on time, Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next. Okay, so we're going to move on to Brother Ankh to explain his perspective, on the state of the college community and things that were mentioned in the video, and I want to allow him to clarify, his perspective on that. All right, Brother Ankh.
Brother Ankh, you got to unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. All right.
All right. First, I would like to, Uja, you got that clip ready?
I'm sorry. Let me get it ready.
Yeah, get it ready. What I first want to do is I want to kind of read something from our Facebook group. And so y'all can kind of get what the mission is. It was stated in the video that we didn't necessarily have a mission. That's complete absurdity. appreciate the elder and the brothers from Raising Awareness. I had a conversation with them earlier today. I'm not going to be phony. I really didn't want to have a conversation. I wanted to have a conversation after we did what we did, because this is an environment that I was raised up in. There were no rules. There were no regulations. The elders didn't leave us rules and regulations on how to study, on what to do, what not to do, and what to do when the community is being attacked. We never got that memo. And so I just had to make it up as I went. Sorry. So not necessarily am I elder. You just consider me a young elder. Not a new elder, but a young elder, 51 years old. And I just felt like I don't mind the fact that maybe the elders don't respect us based off of their limited understanding of who we are and what we do. I'm cool with that. So you don't have to respect our work. But what you can't do is you can't disrespect us. And I felt like we got disrespected. Anytime you clump Brother Sar's name and Amara Squad in with Sarah Stupicetti and quote unquote the young pseudo, that's very, 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 very disrespectful. So I would just like to say, imagine a world, specifically the conscious community, without the Amara Squad. You can close your eyes and think about what be going on. It be loaded. It's already loaded with pseudoisms. People scared to say something because their money might get messed with. That's a fact. I'm not here to sugarcoat stuff. Elders don't necessarily want to get into it because they might end up in this type of situation. I get it. But who in the hell was going to step up? I decided to step the hell up. So you got Blog Talk and you got YouTube. All right? Starting, I think Blog Talk was 2005, and I believe YouTube was 2006. And, I was a part of that bunch of renegades that, quote unquote, put that, what you want to call, scholarship up on YouTube. There wasn't no presence. There wasn't a presence on Blog Talk. Started with Chief Liberation. We was on that rocking hard. There was no other place you could go to get conscious stuff on Blog Talk because we in the media age and we was at the forefront of this. You know what I'm saying? It's like actors and football players. If you're not on Instagram, you're in trouble. You're done. So if you wasn't on YouTube and Blog Talk, you was wiped out. So I took it upon myself to do what I did. It was one show on Blog Talk Radio, I must concur. It was Brother Saw, and he was bringing a real scholarship. I wasn't even at the level of the true scholarship. I was bringing what I like to call the street scholarship, where you figuring it out, you going to the libraries, you going to the virtual museums, you know what I'm saying? You going to the college universities. You know what I'm saying? Brother Saw was there bringing the heavyweights through. Now, James Smalls, right, he's definitely an elder, you know what I'm saying, of the Amara Squad family. He has supported my work. He has supported Amara Squad work. He has supported our businesses. Shout out. Same to Brother Dakar. That's why I was taken back a little bit when Brother Dakar did what he did. He has since called and apologized. Appreciate that, bro. And he said he would make a public apology. I'm definitely waiting on that. So I support Comedic Press. Absolutely, I support the books. Now, I do not agree with that All-Mag chapter. That's a bunch of crap, and I'm just going to say it. It's one of those lingering effects of what I would like to call blackism or colorism or the lookership. What do I mean by lookership? Well, you got like Leo Hansberry, right? You also got my brother that wrote the book, Nathan Knows No Color, Joel A. Rogers. So Joel A. Rogers didn't have no rule book neither. Joel A. Rogers had to go to different places and actually kind of figure it out, to bring this thing forward. And he did a lot of lookership. I'm not going to knock him for that. You know what I'm saying? You got to get a man credit. He was at the frontier. There was no way for him to do what he wanted to do. He had to figure it out. And for that, I respect him. He was a rebel. But he used a lot of lookership. So as you go back through his works, you can find a lot of stuff that's one, dated, outdated, and two, it's not based off of what we need to push forward in the space age. And it's just that simple. Ain't no knock on him. It's just the truth. And so I heard Brother Saul said the best. He said, man, I'm not beholden to no groups. I'm not beholden to no individuals. I am beholden to the daggone truth. That's why I've never signed up for a group of elders to hog-tie me. Never signed up for that one. Never signed up for individuals. It happened to me one time when I was in the New Wapians, and they damn near put me out of that because I would always question them. All right? So I knew after that experience of truth and falsehood, strings and mix, I would never go down that road again. Never go down that road again. So it brings you to the point of understanding is there wasn't an elder rule book on what to do and what to say. It wasn't there, man. Y'all never gave us that. It wasn't a rule, well, you gotta sit at the feet of the elders. Hell, Dr. Ben was too old. John Jackson was dead. John Henry Clark was dead. It wasn't that. And that next layer, let me just say it, that next layer of quote unquote eldership, right? They was teaching pseudoisms. I just got to say it. And the word pseudo is simply telling you that it appears to be real, but it's not. So you got people like Phil Valentine, Elbert Blair, may the force be with him, the great Bobby Hemmett. You got, separate this now. I'm going to say the greatest pseudo of them all, right? I'm going to say it, is Dr. Malachi York. And I'm separating it because he had a crime against humanity. And the crime against humanity and the crime against the babies is a crime against humanity. So I want to make sure I make that line right there. Put that line right there. But he was teaching pseudo-isms. He was teaching pseudoscience. He wasn't teaching with John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Charles Finch, Chick Anthony P.I., Phil Foul Banger. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know, we can rattle them off. Feel me? We can rattle them off. They wasn't teaching that. All right? They was teaching white people information. And that's the darndest thing. That when I came to the conscious community, the thing that was bubbling and is still bubbling is quote unquote the pseudo information. You can go to any lecture in New York City right now. They spending $60, $70 a ticket to talk about Ronald Reagan ain't dead, quote unquote Barack Obama, you know what I'm saying, is the son of Malcolm X, and everybody stand up cheering. You know what I'm saying? And when the real information come through, yeah, I mean, they throwing tomatoes at us, right? So who in the hell want to be in that environment? The thing that really had me perturbed, because the elders have been silent. One, they were silent when the pseudoisms was being taught, and now I understand why. Because a lot of them was teaching pseudoisms, and I'm not saying they really understood that. I'm not gonna say that, but I'm saying that's what they was teaching, whether they recognize it or not. Okay. 2, you had Wesley Muhammad, True Islam. He had a group, right? He had a group called, quote unquote, the Allah Team. And back then he was called True Islam. He ran through this community like a hot knife going through butter, and nobody stood up and challenged him. Said he ran off and cowered like he normally does, the same way he ran from the debate about the meta nature, him and the young student, they ran, they cowered off, they disrespected Dr. Oyama-Yat, they disrespected her name, disrespect, but they ran like cowards, but yet they still cheered them, and they lied and they deceived people, but yet they still cheered them. But nobody stepped up and said anything. Nobody said nothing about the pseudoisms, nobody said nothing, try to stop Wesley Muhammad, they let him run through. When he tried to blackanize Islam and make it some African thing, quote unquote, when he tried to make Black Arabia, quote unquote, African, right? He was using trickology. He used trickology and he used scholarship. Misappropriate scholarship on said subjects. Nobody responded. The great Walter Williams, which was one of my favorite teachers and still is. No one challenged him on the meta nature. At all, no one challenged him. When I say challenge, I'm saying, Dr. Walter Williams, man, you gotta challenge him with the scholarly work. You just can't talk about it. And we'll let Wu-Jai get into that. So you got issues that was running rampant in the community. We had pseudo teachers. Remember I told y'all, just imagine that world? Suppose we never had stepped up. So we brought methodology to the community. All right, we brought back the real teachings of Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark, Diop. We put that back in the forefront. We was no longer wanted to be controlled by a chakra doctrine. We didn't want to be controlled by the goddess doctrine, or the black woman is God. We know she is, but the black man is God too. We didn't want to be controlled by the homosexual agenda when you just say the black woman is God. Well, where's the daggone man in that situation? So we wanted to balance it out. Nobody challenged none of that at no time. What was I supposed to do? I seen how Wesley did it. I said, well, let's form a squad. Amara Squad. Brother Sinjetti, he already know, primary member right off the top. Primary founder, plain and simple. Right there. So we formed a team, right? Formed a team based off of just wouldn't have the real information, just wanting to really protect our elders. That's why I started. That's why we all joined up. We signed up to 1, protect Africa, 2, protect the elders, and 3, put that real homework and do what Diop said. Diop said, man, the thing he hate the worst is being unchecked. Something close to that. That's why we started the Amara Squad. Let me read our mission statement real quick while we into it. All right, let me see this. All right. Let me get it all on. 1 second. Hey, Wu John, that's on the website, right? On the Facebook group, right?
Yes, it is. It's in the description of the Facebook group.
I don't see it. Can you read that for us?
All right, give me a second.
If my thing ain't moving fast enough, or it ain't. So, sorry. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no damn rule book. No one left for rule book. It wasn't there. So, it was rough on the edges. And we working, to get away from that roughness. And as for the ego thing, I already knew it wasn't even defined properly. I understood that from the jump. But the squad was designed so that if it was a thing as egos or a thing of being out of control, it was designed so that one person, couldn't just push the button. That's what it was based off of. Like one person couldn't just go crazy, start cussing elders out. So we formed that council so that one person couldn't be out of control. And we vote on these issues. We do it like we should have always been doing it. We do it like the community should have been done. We put a council in place where one person couldn't just be out of control. Remember, that wasn't nothing like that was in place. SETI ran out of control. Even tried to put himself on the same measure as Dr. Ben. Even lied and said he said it to feet. He ain't never said it to damn feet, no Dr. Ben. Yeah, he claimed that. Nobody checked him, though. Brother Reggie did, though, and they all threw tomatoes at him. I remember that. I did remember that. So I'm saying is we came into an environment where it was already out of control, where monatomic gold, chakras, this in Egypt, spaceships in Egypt's on the glyph, they all taught that.
I'm ready.
There's an army of pseudoisms against us. And I hate to say it, a lot of elders is leading that army. So there wasn't a group of elders that we could sit at the feet of, is what I'm saying, because they all had the pseudo in their game. Now, I'm sure there was some, but I'm saying as far as being visible on YouTube, where it really counts these days. It's always essential to write a book, but it's also important to have a presence on YouTube with the proper information. The same when Blog Talk, when that was rocking. There wasn't a group of elders on YouTube and Blog Talk, right, that didn't bring the pseudo game with them. They wasn't there consistently. You had the ones I just named that was there consistently teaching pseudoisms. My thing is, man, I support all the elders. I was really upset about infidelity. Man, I held this book up, the purple book, right? Please buy this book. Brother Sinjetti is in that book. I was proud of that, to see Brother Sinjetti in this book. I was proud that he was a student of Infidisi. Right off the rip, the elders always had a pass when it came down to the Amara Squad. because we understand the importance of elders. A group of young brothers and sisters or community without elders is not even a community. We recognize that. So I was like really taken back when we was clumped amongst a group of individuals that don't give 3 flying beats. And then, you know, back in the day, I would have said that cuss word, right? But, you know what I'm saying? We got checks and balances. So I never understood how a squad designed to protect the elders and the customs and traditions, and I'm gonna prove that, right, would be the first group to get called out just through me. How is it that we was the first time the elders decided to really speak up, like they been should have spoke up? The first time they decided to do it, we get thrown in. Wuja, you got that? So you can read our mission?
Yes, I can read it.
Please read it.
All right, people can find this in our Amara Squad group under the description, and it reads, Amara Squad is a collective of some of the top African intellectual minds working on behalf of educating the masses. This online forum allows for the information to be disseminated to the public in a direct manner. We will take a topic request on various issues and look for solutions. We invite anyone to be a member, and the forum discussions will be shared to help others in online and book forums in the future to help the next generation. Our mission is to promote scientific literacy in the African American community. Our goal is to develop educational programs, challenge academic institutions as it relates to the African history and linguistic studies. Our purpose is to publish African-centered books, conduct research studies, and to create businesses and grassroots economic opportunities. Amara Squad is dedicated to transforming the conscious community by using the proper methodology, rigorous academic study, and scholarship. We believe in critical thinking, peer review, and defined problem-solving techniques. We believe in analyzing, synthesizing, and evaluating information before arriving at conclusions. We balance our mission and purpose by honoring our traditional African beliefs while using the scientific method as a guide to empower African American communities. Amara Squad up.
Mm-hmm. So it was easy to find out what we was about and what our end game was. So you got Sister Naya. She has a master's degree in psychology. Where you at, Dr. MAAT?
Peace and love, Brother Ankh. So
we say Dr. MAAT, not the corny conscious community Dr. Crap. See, we don't do that.
No.
That ain't what we do. How many years you had to go to school, Doc?
Oh my gosh, look, I'm looking for my book right now. Oh, here it is. Looking for my dissertation right now. 4 years undergrad, 5 years total for graduate school. So a total really of 9 years. And I took a break in between, but about 9 or 10 years studying electrical engineering at Morgan State University.
Mm-hmm. And you teach there, am I correct?
Yeah, I teach there now, and I'm a full-time faculty member. I teach electric circuits lab, signal systems and transformations. Signal systems and transformations, signal systems and transformation, digital communications and wireless communications. I'm sorry, it's like 5 courses.
Mm-hmm. Black kids.
Absolutely. At Morgan State University, I think we have 86% of our population is Black.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's this sister that got berated in front of the corny community. The damn dummy didn't even recognize that you don't have to be a medical doctor. This is the pseudo now. You don't have to be a medical doctor to be a doctor, but we got people asking the community don't even know that. The ignorance permeates. So you got this sister here, right? Well qualified, mathematician, par excellent. Man, she can go back and check those mathematical figures that Diaz put out there. She can absolutely do that. I just want y'all to know that. Like, why wouldn't she do that? Why wouldn't she stand on his shoulders? The most disrespectful thing you can do, right, is to read the books right, of the great ancestors and the great elders and allow mistakes to be in there and not tell the rest of the world and correct them and move forward. It's called standing on the shoulders. And that's how I took it to be.
That's right.
Hey, can you go through, guess some of the background of the other members too?
I mean, I was coming in next. Let's give you funny guy, Brother Sinjetti, right? Man, we didn't put up pictures of you actually being in the lab, actually dealing with science right there. Give us some of your credentials, Brother Sinjetti.
Well, I went to school for pre-medical biology. I'm a medical technician, certified emergency medical technician, so it's a science background and training. Okay. And then, we got the background of Asar Imhotep. Asar, what's your, some of your background and training in schooling?
You're working on this master's degree in computer
science.
Computer science.
Okay. And he has schooling even prior to that. Wuja, you have some professional background as well. And what is that?
Yes, Maryland University, College Park. I'm from the DMV. What's up, DMV? Yes, computer science, network administration.
Okay.
So I have a scientific background. I was placed fourth in the entire citywide of Washington, D.C. in the science fair and on the juniors and high honor society. So that's my background. And my area of focus has always been computer. I've always been a tech guy. Math and science was my thing, or is my thing.
And then you got Brother Nahisi. Your background, Brother Nahisi. Might have phased out.
All right, might have stepped away.
So how about Smash? You know what I'm saying? Like Smash, like Smash, plain and simple, is a bona fide rap artist. He started him and his buddy started the Hyro crew, you know what I'm saying? Dedicated, you know what I'm saying, to studying the language, the glyphs, you know what I'm saying? When he comes to he's serious, like qualified to challenge the curators, you know what I'm saying, in museums. All right, I'm just letting y'all know what it is. So that's the crew. Do you got Brother Ben and the Masi? He has his master's degree, right? But I'm saying what I want to let y'all know is, everybody that I just mentioned, right? Man, they all start from humble beginnings. Asar, I tell you, he done missed meals. He grew up in the damn projects. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a daggone drug addict, dope dealer supreme, bunch of foolery. You know what I'm saying? Doc Miat done been through her trials and tribulations, right? She came back from that to be an outstanding person in the community. All of us been through all of that. So I don't never want to hear the crap that, they think they better than us. No, it ain't that we think we better than y'all. Y'all think we better. That's the damn problem. We come from the same place every come from. I come from the greasy streets of Baltimore City and didn't even have to do that. So at the end of the day, man, look, man, we was always qualified to do this. Just call it luck. Just say I got lucky and put the right people together. All right? Just say that. But whatever it is, we here right now, and we love our elders, and we honor our ancestors and our customs and traditions. But I never signed up. So if my ancestors believed in God, I never signed up to be in agreement with that. If I looked at it and didn't understand it enough, right, and felt like it wasn't helping us, then I could do what I need to do for my family. So I didn't sign up for the good old follow the leader type of thing, right? I'm an original thinker. All right, let me jump right in. Play that clip though. Then I can jump right in.
All right, so I'm gonna start it at 119, and so you let me know when to stop it. I'll just let it play.
Yeah, it's the fine elder
And
brother.
I question whether somebody else does, but don't say nobody else can. The last thing I want to state, this is out there too. This is out there with this other confusion that spirituality is not the way to go. Spirituality is not science.
Stop
and then
that.
I'm saying to
right
myself,
there.
the spirit.
Stop that. Right. So, what's the position of the Amara Squad? Let me first say this: that no, spirituality ain't science. Two separate things. Spirituality ain't morality. Two separate things. Anybody want to add something real fast? Asar?
Yeah. You know how people say we can't use the word God because it's Germanic and not African?
Mm-hmm.
I say the same thing with science.
Mm.
So when people try to say spiritual science, I'll be like, you can't use the word science. That's not African. It is, but it's not African. People pick and choose what they want to believe and isn't consistent across ideas. And, you know, we saw that. And plus, it was just misinformation. We didn't say nothing like we didn't need spirituality.
No.
It's just simply, science is not spirituality. It just is what it is. And we proved that using nothing but African sources. So we always have receipts for everything that we say.
It's a fact. Robinson Jetty?
I just want to add to that.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I just want to add to that our elder Mfundishi misrepresented our stance with that statement, and that just like math is not science, but math and science can be worked together, spirituality is not science, and we have never said that spirituality is not the way to go.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't allow it. Brothers and Jetty?
Yeah, you know, science in and of itself is a process of investigation, you know, whereas, you know, spirituality, this is the way you live your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when you're dealing with, et cetera, prayers, rituals, et cetera, culture, science is the rigor. You know, you don't have to be spiritual in order to do science. So,
mm-hmm. Where you at, Doc?
I'm right here. I'm right here.
Something to that?
No, I mean, you brothers, I mean, you going in, are we talking about the meaning of science, or I'm not going to lie, I was on my phone just now.
Yeah, all right. It's all gravy.
No, what we talking about? Where we at, Tell me where we are.
No, I played the clip real fast. One piece of it when Brother MVDC claimed that we claimed that.
Oh, yeah. That science and spirituality are the same thing. They're not one and the same.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
Mm-hmm. No. Who else? When he, no, I don't even know. He's not there and Smash not there.
Well, let me also make this clear. In regards to science, you know, again, I'm trained in science, and you know, in the classroom, you know, I don't bring, you know, let's say what we call our dua'u into the classroom, you know, when I'm analyzing DNA. Okay.
I thought you did, man.
That's not be funny. I'm just being real, you know. And I'm not going to bring, you know, the scientific method into, you know, the arena where I'm practicing dua'u per se. Okay. Because that's not the purpose. So that's what's meant by saying they're not the same. It doesn't mean that we're not spiritual.
Facts.
Okay. It simply means one arena is not the same as the other. Okay. Sometimes people may say spiritual science, okay, because you have procedures in how we do ritual. Me personally, I think a better term for that might be ritual practice, but that's just me personally. You know, I can't tell anybody else what to say. But you know, many times we just want to have clarity, because what you're looking at is rituals, okay, sequential steps. So, but again, that's just me. You know, and lastly, you know, if I'm doing a procedure to save someone's life, okay, if I'm doing CPR and I've done that, literally not just in practice, but actually done that, I don't have time to think about ritual, you know, or I don't have time to think about spirituality per se, okay, because I have 1 minute to save this person's life, okay, and you know, or in the OR, in the operating room, okay. So this is why people were saying it's different. It doesn't mean you don't do spirituality, because we're all spiritual, and many of us here are actually initiated in African spiritual systems. So
don't understand. Let me make this clear. Just because I'm a real black atheist, and I ain't never said I was an atheist, let's get that clear, right? Right? You can't put that on the rest of the squad. You know, you got to ask them how they define who they are and what they do. All right? So go ahead, finish the clip though, Wuja.
All right.
Spiritual teachers created the scientific methodology that they're using.
Absolutely.
So they haven't done their research yet.
That's right.
like saying, well, ancient
If
chemists.
they knew what those priests were teaching in ancient Kemet, they would know that it was tied to everything was tied to spirituality.
But you got a whole the same group of people we're talking about are pushing a atheist Darwin theory and are talking about spirituality has no place in the new movement. And I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. You're talking about the most spiritual people on the planet and the very
not being spiritual.
Stop being spiritual. That's crazy. You know, so I mean, Wesley Snipes made a statement in one of his Blade movies. He said, "There's always some fools trying to ice skate uphill."
Stop it right there. Yeah, all right. I know. Right? Okay, so let's get right here to it. So, first of all, we're all familiar with this work right here. Chronology of the Bible, a challenge to the standard version by Yosef Ben Yaakov. We're all familiar with this, am I correct? Mm-hmm. So, I wrote a complimentary piece right here. All right? It's called The Chronology of Human Evolution. Unc West. So if you'd have got my work, I explain my stance on what atheism is and what it's not. I'm going to come right here. All right? Page 4. It say, before we look at the differences between RBA, that's real black atheism, or Rebuilding Africa, that's an acronym for Rebuilding Africa, real black atheism, and BA, which is black atheism, it say we must first look at the etymology of the word atheist, which generally describes, right, a person without God or one that denies God. And the original meaning, I will get into what the original meaning was, right, quote unquote, in Civilization of Barbarism by Shigant Diaz. So we come right here real quick. It says atheists generally do not acknowledge the differences between a black or white culture. It says they do not support traditional systems, and most of the time they correlate African agencies as pseudo. Therefore, using the European paradigm, an atheist is simply without a God. It says this is important when addressing the behavior of black atheism as a separate discipline from white atheism. It says because as we can see, atheism does not deal with culture. Yet, the reality of being a black atheist is apparent in the community. Why did I make that statement? Well, we know for a fact that this brother that wrote this book right here was definitely a real black atheist, right? Man, God, and Civilization, John Jackson. Yeah, so who was he the teacher of? Well, hell, he was the teacher of this guy right here, Dr. Ben. We know Dr. Ben was atheist. He did not believe in God. Man, he wrote great works like Africa, Mother Civilization. What else we got here? We got Nile Valley Civilization. Did I bring that one here? No, I got it. Hold on. Right here. All right, right. Then we know one of the greatest scholars we got that was first up in Harlem, right? Hubert Harris, which I'm proud to receive the first award at the first annual Sarnetta TV Awards. Shout out to Sarnetta, man. They don't know who you really is, bro. They don't really get it. I do, though, man. Thank you for allowing us to put that real scholarship out. But yeah, so the Amara Squad got about 6 awards at the Sarnetta TV Awards, all right? Trust me with that. Hubert Harris, man, he was an autodidact for sure. He spoke about 3-4 different languages, right? He was the first guy to actually, one of the first guys to actually stood up. They called him Black Socrates. He actually stood up, right? And was destroying religion. Yeah, you know, then out of all of that, you know what I mean? You get the Harlem History Club with John Henry Clark. To my knowledge, didn't believe in no God. He didn't believe in the quote unquote monotheistic religions. So anybody listen to this show, no matter what you say, if you're not believing in the monotheistic religions, man, they're going to consider you an atheist, man. If you're not believing the state-sponsored religion, is the term I like to talk about, right? They're going to call you atheist. Let me finish reading though. It says, in fact, just like the dominant society, Black atheists are ignored. Yeah, we marginalized, they be talking trash. You heard infodecent. Marginalized and left out of the position of power. Black atheists are left to develop its own paradigm called Black atheism. However, where Black atheism fails, RBA succeeds. That's real Black atheism. Mainly because Black atheists refuse to acknowledge culture and opt for skin color politics. Therefore, Black atheist is simply someone who has melanin and who rejects the gods. Specifically, a Black atheist does not know the history of African spiritual systems. Man, boy, I appreciate y'all for motivating me to write. Appreciate Voice of Fire Press for putting this together, right? Because here go my words right here. You would understand my stance. I'm gonna finish right here. Black atheist does not want to learn about Africa and thinks that all things in Africa are stupid, outdated, or barbaric. Black atheists do not know or understand African cultures, had their own spiritual system before the word God, and they lack the understanding of what really separates a Black atheist from a real Black atheist, because they refuse to acknowledge the ancient African systems that our ancestors used to create concepts found in nature. So now y'all know what type of brand of real Black atheism or atheism I practice. Oh, Unc, you made it up. You're damn right I made it up. That's what we supposed to do as African people. We supposed to create ideas and create concepts. So now, we teaching Darwin, we're teaching Darwin-Lytton doctrine and teaching about Darwin, the theory that Darwin, yes, sir, Bob, we are. So where did I learn about Darwin from? Hold it, you got this book right here, African Mother of Western Civilization. I can't hear you on mute.
Absolutely, I do.
You got it? Do me a favor, please, sir.
Yes, sir.
Out here. Could you go to page 40, please, sir? We're going to see where Brother Unc learned this from.
Page 40?
Page 40. Where did I get that from? Huh. Man, this is going to be good.
Where we at?
We right here, the second paragraph, man's intermediate link. Go ahead, read that, please, sir.
Wait a minute. They're on page 40?
Yeah.
Let's see. My book is kind of old. Let me see. You said man's what?
It said man's intermediary link to an ape-like ancestor. What you got on page 40?
Let's see.
See this map right here? Look at this map. See this?
Okay, my book is different than yours. It might be on a different page.
All right, but find this map right here. If you find this map, all you gotta do is go over 2 pages. You'll see it.
All right, let's see. I gotta see. Oh, wait a minute. Is that we the Black Jews?
No, that's African Mother West.
Okay, wait a minute. I grabbed the wrong one. I'm sorry. I grabbed the wrong one. There we go. Okay, wrong one.
Everybody just want to leave Unc out there by himself, drowning somewhere. Oh, look at that atheist. Look at him.
I got you.
Go ahead.
Man's intermediate link to an ape-like ancestor.
Mm-hmm.
At this juncture, it must be noted that Sir Charles Darwin.
Stop for a minute. He called him what, though?
He said Sir Charles Darwin.
Oh, sir. I ain't never called Darwin Sir Charles Darwin. He gave his Victorian title. But go ahead, though. It's not the big word.
Ape-like ancestors and not an ape, as so many of his religious detractors have stated since his proclamation. The confusion, as well as the persecution of all paleontologists and their associates, members of the clergy of all 3 faiths, labeled religion, Christianity, and Islam, continues to this very. However, the collection of human fossils accumulated beyond imagination. A few are chronologically listed as follows.
There you go. You don't got to read that. You don't got to read that. I'm just showing you the first place I learned about Darwin right? No matter what they want to say, right? Was from the great elder ancestor, Dr. Ben. So who really was at the feet of Dr. Ben? See, I start to question stuff like that. We know stupid Seti, you know what I'm saying, never read the damn books, but I was perturbed and taken away. So let's come to this next book, Man, God, and Civilization. You got that book, Elder?
No, that one I don't have. I was saying I'm gonna get it, I just never got around to getting it.
I got the book.
Got the book? Okay, do me this favor, please, sir.
Hold on,
So
let me grab the book. Let me grab the book.
All right. So y'all know for sure that Unc ain't running around trying to confuse the community, trying to teach them that atheist thing or trying to teach them about that evolution thing. That y'all, you know what we call it? Y'all call that monkey thing. Amara Squad teach the monkey thing. Yeah, I know.
Well, I ain't never thought that we were monkeys, but I've always understood that there was an evolutionary process. So Joe talked about that.
You're right.
Joe talked about that. So I don't know how anybody could say that there wasn't an evolutionary process. Kai talks about it. Almost all our scholars do. So I don't even know.
I played the clip. All right, let's come to chat. Hold on. All right, chapter 2, chapter 3. Page 28.
All right.
The last paragraph on page 28.
All right. On page 28, it says Ice Ages and Men.
Yep. Go down to the third paragraph.
To the third paragraph?
Yeah, the last paragraph on the page in 1871.
All right. In 1871, Darwin's Descent of Man was published. And in this book, impressive evidence was adduced, tending to show that man and the anthropoid apes could be traced back to a common ancestor. Most of Darwin's contemporaries judged the continent of Asia to be most likely the birthplace of humanity, but Darwin held that Africa had a better claim to the title of the cradle of mankind. Let me keep reading.
Hold on. So at this point, right, it was Darwin. Right? It was Darwin that fought against the people that was all into the Bible and listening to Bishop Usher when he quote unquote gave the age of the world to be 6,000 BCE. You know what I'm saying? It was Darwin and then to win against that. These are the words that the elders told us to read. You know, Origin and Evolution of the Human Race by Albert Churchwood. So you got Albert Churchwood and you got quote unquote John G. Jackson. Yeah, I'm saying, Albert Churchwood and Darwin actually telling us where humanity started. So the Nation of Islam didn't teach it. They said we was the Asiatic black man. The Moors didn't teach it. They say we was the Asiatic black man. Nation, God, and Earth say we was the Asiatic black man. But the white boys that people detest, right, was actually fighting for the truth. Right? So it continues to say, we are naturally led to inquire, we assert. It say, where was the birthplace of man? In each great region of the world, the living mammals are closely related to the extinct species of the same region. It is therefore probable that Africa was formerly inhabited by extinct apes closely allied to the gorilla and chimpanzee, and as these two species are now man's nearest allies. He never said that we was monkeys. He was saying the chimpanzees and then we're our closest allies. It is now what more probably that our predecessors lived on Africa continent than anywhere else. Right. So once again, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard to sit at the feet of some elders who don't specialize in certain areas, but yet bash you for the areas that I love: anthropology, archaeology, and paleontology. I studied Stone Age cultures before Kemet. So much so that I memorized the skulls, Zinthopithecus boise, which Zinthopithecus, Dr. Ben, most people don't even know it, that they always say Degnesh. You ever heard that? You heard Degnesh, right? People say it all the time. Dr. Ben said Degnesh. You know, the name means marvelous in them heart, Ethiopia. But Degnesh is the Australopithecus.
Right.
But she's not our ancestor. Doc said that, but she's not. Why is that fossil so important? She is important because she demonstrates habitual bipedalism. That means she walks upright. So, I think I made my point there, right? I'm gonna finish off with this and let Wujah go in, right? I'm gonna come to Diop's work, right? I just want everybody just to be clear and understand, you know, just where I'm always coming from. I'm not shying away from the elders, and I'm sure as hell not getting away from the ancestors' work. Man, I just like to add to it. So you come to page 335. I'm gonna give you the source of why I call myself a real black atheist. Comes right out of Diop's work right here. And I'm gonna finish with this. Science was in the hands and developed by a body in service to the state with which it was born. The clergy, the source of science in Egypt. Ain't that what Infidisi said? He said that. And that the state that its service can therefore not enter into conflict for the sake of science or anti-intellectualism and Sartorianism as in continental Greece. It's in Athens, where Anaxagoras, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle were all sentenced to death, or almost were, because they taught scientific ideas received from Egypt and well ahead of the local institutions, while the Egyptian religion engendered science. Athenian religion tradition protected itself from science of the Egyptian origin, and this very special situation explains the difference in the compared evolution of Egypt and the Greek societies. So we all know that Socrates, Aristotle, Plato's, and all them, they called them atheists. But why did they call them atheists? They called them atheists because they came with Egyptian science and they was going against the state-sponsored religion. So real black atheism is based off of going against the state-sponsored religion. I thought that's why we created the conscious community, African-centered, to go against the state-sponsored religion. Islam, Judaism, and that goddamn Christianity. That's what I thought we was doing. But when I came up with it, they slapped in my face, threw tomatoes and peanut butter, you know what I'm saying, and talk crazy. Right. I'm going to end with that. Go ahead and finish it off, Ujah. I'm good. But anyway, I respect the elders. I love the elders. And I absolutely appreciate the Raising Awareness group. You know what I'm saying? Kufu, I especially appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Because you stepped up for us. And I really appreciate that.
All right. All right. Excellent job, Unc, on bringing that. All right. So I'm going to run it down for our elders. So, Mku, do you have a brief response for Unc?
Well, I want to say, number one, that I never challenge information. Never have, never will. I definitely don't challenge hypotheses and opinions. I never get into those kind of debates. I think it's more important to talk about the health of our psyches, the personality of the way we conduct ourselves, how we interact with each other. That's my mission. So whatever you guys talk about tonight, about the science and about the information, have at it. I'm here to hear and listen and learn too. But I do not discuss information. I read the information. I make my own opinion about what I read and what I see and what I hear. See that?
Appreciate that, bro.
Got your book, bro.
I appreciate that.
And as you can probably tell, I got a whole lot of other books back here too. Yeah, I don't go around and brag about what I read and what I got and what I do. I don't have to. But I can tell you what, anybody that comes to me with any kind of conversation, I can participate at least with some measure of accuracy about what we're talking about. Now, I can't speak for Mfadishi. As you guys know, and anybody who's listening, know that me and Kufu just went through initiation with Mfadishi.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this, and I'm not here to defend that man at all. And it's like I said in my presentation, in my opening, he can stand on his own damn square because he's a man. The bottom line is he's a man. He happens to be my saber, but he's a man. He stands on his own square and takes the lumps as they come. But I can tell you that when me and Kufu went through that training for that entire year, going up and down that road to New York every 2 weeks, reading 13 books and doing all other kinds of things, not 1 minute did he tell us or teach us about no damn crystals. Okay? and about no Christianity and spirituality and science being together, because that's his personal opinion about that. So I want to give the man credit where it's due, because he does have the work that he should be credited for. But this other crap that we're talking about, he's got to stand on his own square and take his lumps like any other man. That's how it goes.
Appreciate you.
I'm done, bro. But I appreciate you guys giving me the platform. I said, I'll sit here and I'll take my lumps too. You know I love you, man. You know that.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You know how we roll.
Yeah.
I love all you guys. But as the elder, I have to stand on my square and take my lumps and then come back stronger than ever. Bottom line.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I just didn't want to be phony and act like wasn't nothing wrong, because it was. And I can't be that way. So I just wanted to say what was on my heart and my mind as men, because that's what men do. And we honor out our differences in front of the community, and we walk away as men and we don't rehash it. So I just had to get it all off my chest. Because see, I'm good now. I'm feeling good. Now I'm ready to have a conversation with y'all. But prior to that, I ain't want to talk.
Hey, man, I don't want to talk to your black ass any goddamn.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead, bro.
Well, I want to say this first of all. I got one regret, that I never got the chance to meet you, Unc, before you moved out of Baltimore.
Man.
But, you know, we both from Bmore.
Okay.
I grew up in Somerset Projects in East Baltimore, so you know how rough
exactly where you at.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know it was rough there.
Yeah, I know where you at.
But I only got the chance. I regret that when we had our first event, I didn't even realize you were there. And I happened to see the picture. I said, that's Aunt. And I said, he didn't never talk to me. So then I only got the chance to briefly talk to you when we did our second event. So because when I found somebody else told me, they said, he's from Baltimore. I said, he's from Baltimore. I said, how come I ain't never seen him? So, and I'm just finding out today that you had a book. I didn't know you had a book. So I'm going to have to wind up adding that to my library. But I didn't know you had one. And had I known that, I'd have it. Because I'm always reading. Like I said, I've been doing this a long, long time.
Yeah.
So I'm an information junkie, and I don't mind discussing the information that I read, good or bad. I'll be wrong sometime, I'll be right sometime. Now, let me say this real fast, giving a little history about myself. When I first really became conscious, even though I was in the Black Panther Party for a year when I was 15 to 16, that was 1969, 1970. I didn't really start becoming totally conscious, I'll say, until 74. Even though I was between 69 and 74, I was growing because there was all kinds of stuff going on at that time, as you know. It was actually out there in our faces. I had like a dichotomy, if you will. I converted to Islam, and at the same time, I was becoming a Black nationalist. So it was one of those kind of things where I got the angel on one side, the shoulder, and the devil on the other side, So I'm kind of like working, but I was studying African history and culture. At the same time, I was studying Islam. So after about 3 or 4 years, I wound up being chosen as the imam of the masjid. So I know Islam backwards and forwards. So I wish that I had known about the stuff that was going on with Wesley Muhammad early. I did begin to find out. By that time, I wasn't in a position where I would have liked to have gotten to him, but I did write a nice paper that I think addresses his nonsense, because I long since left Islam, you know, but I know enough about it. That's why I know how to deal with him without even having to deal with language. I deal with him based on the religion itself, the same way I can take somebody apart on the Bible and their Christianity nonsense. I can take somebody apart on Islam the same way, because I know backwards and forwards. So I know the history of Islam. I know the timelines and all of that. So I can do that. I wrote a paper on it. So I already know that he don't want none of this anyway. He definitely don't want none of this. Trust me. If you go on our Raising Awareness Group website and look at the article entitled "Is Islam an Indigenous African Religion?"
You can put that in the journal, right?
Huh?
You can put that in the journal. The brother Ben started the Masi, correct?
Yeah. I don't know which one. We haven't talked about which one I was going to put in there. But that can probably go in there. If Ben wants to put it in there, I ain't got no problem with that, because that's probably a good one to go in there, because we got some other stuff we doing with some other stuff I'm doing.
Okay, I was just saying. Well, see how we really all connected, man. See?
Yeah. Trip. Yeah. Well, he and I talked about putting something in there. We just never talked about which one. So I ain't got no problem with that. I mean, if that's the one he wants, and I mean, I'd love for it to go in there, because Wesley Muhammad's nonsense need to be addressed. I got some other stuff I'm working on too with the nation against the Nation of Islam.
Baba Olatunji, quick question: did you already publish the article, or
it's on our website?
Yeah, because I just Googled it. Is Islam an indigenous African religion? Nothing came up. So you said it's on your website?
It's on the Raising Awareness Group website.
Okay, I'm getting ready to go there now.
When you go in there, look for recent articles, because it's under my name. Go on up if you look it up here, you'll see let me see, how's it go? Let me see, I'll tell you what category to look at. Look in Visionary Thoughts and look under my name.
So it's raisingawareness.org?
Raisingawarenessgroup.com.
Okay.
And then look under Visionary Thoughts.
And then look under Visionary Thoughts and look under my name.
Yep, I see it. I'm with you, Baba. I'm an information junkie, so I love it. I love Okay, so I see it right here. Is Islam an indigenous African religion, and were the original Arabs or Arabians Black people? So this article, you put it on here August the 6th this year.
Yeah. So for anybody who is watching, if they think that Wesley Muhammad has the answer, they need to go read that. But that'll take care of that nonsense. Right away.
I want to thank everyone again. I just wanted to briefly highlight this work. This is, not a selfish plug. This is my 2015 work, Where is the Love? How language can reorient us back to love's purpose. So in terms of the solutions. And so one of the things that I stress, again, if you really want to know what we're about, read our work. And so, this is about the African concept of love and relationships and community. And so part of the dialogue in here is about communication. And I think that's one of the takeaways, from this discussion, is that it is best to communicate with each other. And if we just, keep an open line, that solves most of the problems. And
absolutely.
In our community is that everyone's beefing for the simple fact of miscommunication, and people don't know how to talk to each other and talk directly to each other. And so this affects our bigger goals. And so I'll just read briefly, citing from Dr. Amos Wilson. So this is from my conclusion, chapter 8. And it's from Dr. Amos Wilson, The Falsification of African Consciousness,
Eurocentric history, psychology, and the politics of white supremacy. And he says, we're suffering from the absence of an economic system. Money is not a system. Money is what it is. A system involves the systematic and organized utilization of money, a systematized utilization and distribution of money. Without the pattern, without the system, without the organization, one does not have an economy. An economy exists prior to money. There were economies in the world before money was invented. We don't even have to have money to have an economized system. So ultimately, when we study an economic system, we recognize that an economic system at its basis refers to the nature of the relationship between people. It's the systematic way people choose to relate one to another that makes an economic system, not money. When we lack a systematic way of relating to each other, then we can have money and still be poor, have money and be robbed, which is what we are. And so I put that in there to stress the importance of good relationships with each other. And so we all want to see African people with some agency, but we have to get our interpersonal relationships right. And when there is conflict, the best way to do it is to, speak our minds, but directly to the people with love and sincerity. And we keep all channels open and we allow people to speak and we're respectful to each other. That's what builds the relationships. And on that basis, we can build an economy. We can build that united Africa. We can realize our Pan-African dreams. And so that's all I really have to say on that. That's it. I don't have no big closing. So just wanted to say that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Okay, Brother Kufa, did you want to do a quick response?
I just wanted to say I appreciate everything that Ankh said. I appreciate that he appreciates what I said. And just once again, I'm very happy that we can be on the panel tonight and speak on this subject. I think it's something that the community needs to hear. The community definitely needs to see it. And we have to build from here, whether it be coming up with a code of conduct or something like that on how we handle things and moving forward. Like I said earlier, just building that bridge between the elders and the youth. And and as I say, always stay consistent and keep pushing. Because everyone on this platform here tonight has educated and has taken a position to educate our people. So we must conduct ourselves as educators so they can grow up and follow in our footsteps and teach the generation after them. So we have to set the example and we have to raise the bar. And, just stay consistent and, hopefully the elders will keep pushing us and we keep pushing them. And, we can do this for our people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I also want to say, Kufu, that I want to give you credit because in that video, I also want to acknowledge that there was some wisdom shared in that video as well. So it wasn't only critiques or things that were taken one way or the other. There was also wisdom shared. But, you brought up the point about the relationship between the generations that need to be there or the disconnect. So that's actually influence on the subtitle for tonight. So I just wanted to give you credit because you gave me that idea.
Sure.
Okay. All right. All right, Brother Wu Jiao. You want to come in, you want to give your perspective?
Yes, I do, and I will be as brief as I can. I know that it is past some of our bedtimes, especially Dr. MAAT. I'm actually surprised she's still with us.
I know, right?
So I will be brief, I'm basically the cleanup guy, and so I really want to address one thing that was said in the video, but then I want to kind of close it out with something that people should take heed to. So the thing I wanted to address is this notion that I guess basically what people are starting to do, they're starting to equate correction and use it synonymously with disrespect and bad character. And I know that they don't mean the same thing. To correct someone is not synonymous with that. But now you can behave, with disrespectfully and with bad character. But correction in and of itself is not a negative thing. But for some reason, there's this notion that's around that we cannot correct individuals. So I had some clips queued up, but I don't really need to play them because I'm just going to address that one point. And so with Sheikh and the Jihad was made reference to in the video, and so comments were made such as, at least I could just say what the comments were at the very least. Comments were made such as certain people can't even hold the Diop's jock strap. Asar is disrespectful, digging up Diop to slander and even make a name for himself. Another statement was made that we're attacking Diop. And are you doing it for the people or for yourself? Then another comment was made that Diop was being character assassinated. All right, and that's all I can name for that. I had the clips to play, but I just want everyone to understand what I'm actually addressing. So
why you play the clips?
Because I already said the time. I don't.
Okay.
I don't have to play the clips. People, I encourage people to watch the video, but I just want everybody to understand what I'm addressing. All right.
All right, good.
So, this notion of not being able to correct someone. So this goes back to what I said about scholar when Sanjeti, when you asked about scholarship, what people have to understand is that how scholarship works. And I think that a lot of people use scholarship wrongly, and they use it as a misnomer to call people scholars who are not really scholars. And people are claiming to do scholarship who don't really do scholarship. And we have to cut that out for 2019 and forward. All right. We have to call things what they are as they are and stop with the misnomers. All right. In scholarship, if you make a claim, especially a published claim, there is a bullseye on that claim. This is understood by all scholars. All right. This is why you publish it, is to brace yourself for the scrutiny, for the critique, for the confirmation or the refutation, etc. So this notion that we have to correct someone, be it an elder, black or white, be him alive or deceased, that we have to do it in private, is completely foolery. All right. Scholarship does not work that way. All right. When you publish something, it is open and it is on target as a target. All right. And you just hope your work stands the test of time, because everyone in scholarship has the goal of accuracy, quality and accuracy, not the feel good and not the inaccuracies. It's about accuracy and quality. All right. So the recent discussion about the meaning of the place name Kemet is what draws the attention to Sheikh Anta, because he is the source of one of the hypotheses that was addressed in that discussion. And so it was painted that the brother Asar is attacking Diop. And so what that does, it plays on the emotions of people, because we love Diop. Diop is as the elder said on the show, Diop is the most brilliant mind that we have of this century. All right, we all know that. We all love him for that and everything. So to imply that he's being attacked and to imply that he's being slandered is a play on the emotions of the people, and it distracts from the actual data and the evidence that was presented for the specific topic that was being discussed. And so we have to cut that out moving forward. All right. So what I want to show, so that's what I have to say about that. All right. But what I want to show is, let me just get my screen situated here. So what I want to show is something else that was brought up in the let me make sure I have the correct screen here. Give me 1 second. Something that was brought up among the elders. All right. And make sure I have this correct one. Okay. Something that was brought up among the elders, especially Dr. Daka Kilimanjaro. All right. He made a statement that I agree with in terms of how scholarship is done. All right. And so when you address a claim, you do it in writing. All right. So you do your research, you do your literature review, you follow all the proper methods and procedures, you collect your thoughts, you collect your ideas, and you organize it and you structure it and you put it in writing. So what I want to show people is that the Amara Squad and me as a member of the Amara Squad, that is exactly what we do. All right. The brother Asar Motep has done that in regards to the claims made by Dr. Wesley Muhammad. The brother Asar Motep has published work as a reply to address a refutation or rebuttal to Dr. Wesley Muhammad in written format in a book, to the point where Dr. Wesley Muhammad even acknowledged and appreciated the fact that that's how scholarship actually works. But what I'm showing on the screen is an example coming from the Seshu Mani Metanetra, of whom I'm a member of as well. And we did the same thing, except we addressed Professor Walter Williams' claims as it regards to whether or not the Egyptian hieroglyphic writing system has been deciphered. Now, what you see on the screen on the left-hand side is our book that we wrote 2 years ago. On the right-hand side is Professor Walter Williams' book, The Historical Origin of Christianity. Now, he wrote in the appendix, he laid out his claims about the hieroglyphic writing system. He did videos and lectures where he challenged the public. He challenged everyone to get his book, number one, which we did, I did, to read it, and to explain to him how he's wrong. And so we acknowledged the challenge, accepted the challenge, got his book, and actually proceeded to analyze it and therefore refute his claims. All right. So this is Walter Williams, for those who may not know. And just real quick, I'm sorry, I just got to mute the elder Olatunji's mic. So this is Professor Walter Williams, for those who may not know of whom I'm speaking. All right. In this particular screenshot is Professor Walter Williams actually acknowledging the receipt of our book, and he makes comments about it, but at this particular time he did not have a chance to read it thoroughly or study it, but he acknowledges having received it. And in this particular video, and I won't play the video is actually on our channel, Seshu Ma'ani Metanetra, the video itself, and you can check it out, where Professor Walter Williams actually appreciates the fact that the book was written, and he says that we are a group of excellent researchers. All right. And so he understands how scholarship works. He didn't complain about us addressing his claims as he asked us to do. All right. Now, I just want to share that these are the first 3 pages within the book: the dedication, the acknowledgments, and the preface or preface. In the dedication, we dedicated the book to Dr. Shekant Diop, and who left us with these wise words, and then we quote him. In the acknowledgments, we acknowledge and give thanks to all of our great scholars, beginning with Dr. John Henry Clark, Shekant Diop, Professor Asa Hilliard, Uncle Ra, Dr. Jacobs Carruthers, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen. All right. Those are our elders who have made their transition. All right. So we acknowledge them. And then we go on and give our gratitude to our elders living, Dr. Theophile Abenga, Dr. Rikedi Amen, Jean-Claude Mboli, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Professor James Small, Ashra Kwesi, Mfundishi Chihutimos, etc., for their contribution and information. Then we give acknowledgments to the laborious works of the University Kemet Press, which includes Dr. Dakar Kilimanjaro, his wife Ife, Brother Yahra Aneb, Amara Squad, and we mentioned brothers by name, Brother Reggie, Dr. Oya MAAT, Nahisi, Brother Ben, etc., etc. So as you can see in the video, Mfundishi, at the beginning of the video that we're speaking of, Mfundishi had a outline, and he opened up the video with this outline that we should have the ancestors first, then the elders, then experts, and then everybody else, etc. So I just wanted to show that this is actually how we outline our acknowledgments. We started with the deceased ancestors, and then our living scholars, experts, and elders, and then we went to our the younger generation, if you will, and then mention people by name. All right, but I want to read the preface to show how this is actually done. So it reads: social media platforms such as Facebook and YouTube have provided a fertile environment for networking and the sharing of information. When it comes to ancient Egypt, there has been a recent increase in discussions of its languages and writing systems. Through these discussions, we have come to learn that there are a number of people who hold the belief that the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic writing system has not been deciphered. This notion can be traced back to a book entitled The Historical Origin of Christianity, published in 1992 by Walter Williams. It became necessary to investigate the claim made by Williams that are often cited by people who hold to this belief. The purpose of this book is to provide the results of such investigations and address the claims made. So here again, as the brother Asar Motep said earlier, when you do scholarship and you're addressing a claim, etc., you can't use the innuendo. You have to name names. You have to cite what you're doing. And so therefore, we cited where the source of this notion is in recent discussions about the hieroglyphs not being deciphered. It can be traced back to Professor Walter Williams. So therefore, we took on the undertaking of reading his book and going point for point through the book. And who is this gentleman right here? Who's that? Does anybody know who that is?
Let me see.
Got him.
Got him.
Got him.
All right, so
looking like a crip over there.
all right, so
I see.
All right, so no, I just wanted to show that I appreciate Sunware, and by the way, Sunware means elder brother. Sunware Olatunji, who support, and I'm sure he checked out the book and the whole nine. But the point I want to make here is that this is how scholarship is done, and this is something that Dr. Dakar made reference to in the video. All right, so I want to show that this is what we do, and this is how it should be done. And in the book, we did it with utmost respect to Professor Walter Williams. We addressed the claims professionally, with good character, and the whole nine. We had a part 1 and part 2 within the book. The first part was a teaching aspect, and part 2 was the full rebuttal, point for point. We did not mischaracterize any of his claims. In fact, we quoted him verbatim and addressed his points, and that's how you do it. That's another thing Brother Sar Imhotep said. When you address claims, or you're going to bring up a subject matter, you quote people, all right? And you quote them accurately so that you can't be blamed to be mischaracterizing arguments, all right? So that's that. Also, I want to make it clear that even on the topic of Kemet, meaning the place name of Kemet, meaning whether it means black land or black people, I want to point out to everyone that us as the Seshu Mahdi Meta Necher, We addressed this topic 2 years ago. And so what you see on the screen right now is a screenshot from our channel. Again, you can go to our channel right now and see it. 2 years ago, the date is August 25th, 2016, where we discussed the meaning of Kemet and the use of adjectives 2 years ago. All right. And in that video, I'm the one that's running point. In that video, I stress to everyone the manner in which and the environment in which Sheikh Anta Diop had made those initial claims, and I also stressed the sensitivity of correcting our esteemed elders right there in that video. And then we proceeded to discuss the information that actually corrects the information. All right, this is 2 years ago. Nobody went in uproars about doing that. Now, you know, you can see you have a 1,000 views, so it's not a very popular video, but still, nobody had a problem with us doing that back then, and up until this day. Matter of fact, people may not even realize that we did that. All right, so this is not new. In fact, some of the slides that was used in the current discussions are the same slides that we use in this video. All right, nobody had a problem back then. Okay, so I want to stress another video that we did as the Amara Squad. All right, matter of fact, this is myself and the brother Unk. This was earlier this year from March. And Unk, you remember this video? The title of the video is called "How Do We Correct Our Elder Scholars?"
That's right.
We had a whole discussion on the sensitivity of correcting our elder scholars and what it means and how we should go about doing it. How we should have good character, how we should give the utmost respect, how to even word things. Can we say we don't say things like, oh, they lied, or they're this and that. We got to say things like, okay, we're standing on their shoulders, we're expanding the work. We got to give credit because a lot of the elders who wrote material 10, 30 years ago didn't have access to information that we have today. So we stressed all these things in this video. And again, this video is from earlier this year. All right, March of this year. All right, so I just want to point these things out that we know how to conduct scholarship and do scholarship. And so I want to reiterate this point, and then I'll finish up. Sheikh Anta Diop, being a scientist and being our beloved genius of our century, all right, he himself understands how scholarship works and being a science and how science works and how science is always self-correcting. Now, we've read this slide many times. This is a slide actually from Asar Motep's presentation. And so I'm just going to read it because for some reason people are overlooking this. Diop himself says, I would like to, this is his words, I would like to see above all, a greater number of researchers, Afro-Americans, young Americans, even whites. Why not? Because it's the young who are the least prejudiced. As a consequence, they are the most capable of making triumph ideas which frighten the older generation. Pause for a second. All right. Now I'm going to continue. Also, I think that it will be necessary to put together a polyvalent scientific teams capable of doing in-depth studies for sure, and that's what's important. Now, he says, it bothers me when someone takes me on my word without developing a means of verifying what I say. We must form a scientific spirit capable of seeing even the weaknesses of our own proofs, of seeing the unfinished side of our work, and of committing ourselves to completing it. You understand? Therefore, we should then have a work which could honestly stand criticism, because what we've done would have been placed on a scientific plane. So it is clear from Diop's own words that he understands the process of how scholarship works and how science works. And he was anticipating criticism because he said, therefore, we should have a work which could honestly stand criticism. All right. And so I would just want to drive that point home. So this notion by anybody, young or old, the youth or elders, of the fact that we cannot correct in the appropriate manner, of course, but correct Diop or others is completely out of pocket. All right. So the comments about jock straps and slander, digging Diop up, that was offensive to me to hear, even though my name wasn't specifically or mentioned or tied to that. That was offensive to me, because that's not the way that we should proceed forward. And so I just want to make all this clear as a lesson to everyone listening, that in 2019, the year coming, y'all have to understand, people have to understand that the Amara Squad, we do scholarship, and we ourselves, we are a confederacy of professionals that will bring that scholastic heat. I want everybody to understand that. We will do it with good character and with respect. But you best believe we are going to bring the scholastic heat on behalf of our people. All right? Don't get it twisted. And I want everybody to understand that. All right? So I want to people understand that we've already doing it. We've been doing it. This is not something new. This is not after tonight. We're not going to just begin to do it. This is what we do. All right? And so I also want to say, and I want to close with this, I really, really, really appreciate the elders on the panel, Mku, and somewhere Olatunji, because you all's presence and the fact that what you said tonight should be a lesson to everybody. This is how you do it.
They got that heart.
And by that I mean what Elder Mku said, that if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. Take the lumps like a man. We're men, and the whole nine. Listen, that is what you call good character. That is what you call integrity. So
that's that feeling.
So to the elders on the panel right now, listen, y'all deserve the utmost respect.
Yeah.
For doing and saying what y'all saying. To the brother Kufu, I'm not sure of your age, so I know you don't could see it.
I'm 33.
Okay, all right. So
I just want to say shout out to Mossy Warrior Clan. You know what I mean, brother Black Panther, brother Eni and Kofi. And yo, tell Kofi stop dropping them presentations like Gucci Man mixtapes. every week he got a new joint.
Damn!
No, I ain't finished the last joint.
All right.
Shout out to them brothers. I want everybody to know they do good work. And,
okay.
And I'm like, man, they consistent. I'm like, I'm in the house like, man, like, yo, they just dumping it out there. Like, I feel like I gotta do something now. But in all seriousness though, they do good work. And, shout out to the brother Magi Jonathan Owens. He was one of the first books I got from Amara Squad camp was brother Jonathan Owens. So good luck on him.
Classic book. That's a classic book.
Yo,
for those that don't know.
So hold up, let me finish. I was on the roll, y'all. I was on the roll.
I thought and shout out to you too, Wood y'all, because you was my Meta Netra teacher and Mku as well. So
all right. So let me just finish. I give me 2 more minutes. I know I'm known as MC Ireland, but I'm being quick tonight. So I just want to say because my concern is the perception from our people, the public who is watching us now, the people who are going to be watching this as an archive, that this video, our discussion tonight, be used as a model. This is the bridging of the gap. Brother Sanjetti had an excellent title for this discussion. This is how the younger generation and the elder generation bridge the gap to have this discussion in such a way that we can use this as a model to move forward, and to stress that we are just a inbox away from each other, a phone call away from each other, and that a lot of things could have been avoided, but they weren't. But this is how we handle it. This is how it's a solution-based discussion. So I want to move forward with this in mind, and hopefully people learn from this discussion who are watching, and don't bring that pettiness, don't bring that immaturity around. Matter of fact, you know, I explain this to Uncle all the time. Sometimes I think we make ourselves too available. People beg, kick, and scream to try to debate. We don't have to answer to every debate. I tell people with the quickness that I take the position of Dr. John Henry Clark, that I only debate my equals and everybody else I teach. Period. I don't entertain. Just like Elder Mku said, he done and Dakar, that, you know, they refuse to debate hypotheses and things of that nature. Put it in writing. Put it in writing. Let me read it. Let me read it. Let me see where your thoughts are going. Let me see the evidence. Let me see the evidence. Then if I feel I gotta say something, I'll say something. You know. And so I just want to close again and thank the elders and this opportunity to move forward. And you know, we have to bridge the gap and so on. So, you know, I'll just close with that. I had more, see, you know, but the way that the conversation unfolded, hey, listen, I had to kind of tuck away some of the other things that I was going to, you know, bring up, but I think it's unnecessary at this point. So I really appreciate it.
All right. So,
hey, Ace and Jetty, you see that, right?
Oh yeah. That's that magi.
That's that magi. So the magi ain't nothing new to the community. Magi. I'm just saying that.
Oh, and
arrows up. Arrows up.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, look, and check this out. Just to let y'all know, you know, the Magi, you know, our brother Magi was another sub-research team. You know what I'm saying? And we were the ones dealing specifically with the meta nature.
That's right.
So, you know what I mean? That's where that comes from, because the Magi were the warriors that helped defeat the Hyksos that formed the 18th dynasty. Okay, so they were basically the warrior elite Navy type SEALs. So that's the vision. That the vision that started with Jonathan, you know what I'm saying? Then he brought you know, Asar, Wujan, myself in, and we Magi, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying, he carries the name, you know what I mean? So give a shout out to Jonathan with that. I also want to do this too. I also want to make it a point that they support us, we support them. Okay, with the University of Kemet Press books. University of Kemet Press books are the official works of the Amara Squad. Okay, and between everyone on the squad, we have all of their publications.
That's a fact.
Okay. This one here, research, well put together. All right. So, we don't want it to get twisted that just because we have disagreements and things like that, all right, doesn't mean that we stop supporting each other. So I want to make that clear for everyone listening. Okay, just because you have disagreement don't mean you lose love over it. Okay, it simply means that, you know, you have to deal with it, and business is business. We're always going to support these works because this is well organized. It took years to put this together. Everyone out there needs to have these books. If you are a Kemetic practitioner, this needs to be in your temple. The MAAT book, Guiding Principles of Moral Living. You have to have this book. If you want to go for it.
See this right here? I just want the elder to know I got this. I read this. Africa, Presence in Early America by Ivan Van Sertima. Right? We're going to have an upcoming book. It probably take about a year. Where you at, Ben? You got the table of contents? Where you at?
I don't have it with me.
You ain't got the table of contents. I know you want to close us out, man.
I can pull it up. Hold on for just a second.
All right. So while Panther's doing that,
I got it. I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
All right, go ahead, Ben.
Table of contents will be as follows. Of course, an introduction. Second chapter will be Our Native Americans, African People. Third chapter is Boats and Ships. Fourth chapter is Archaeological Evidence. Fifth chapter is DNA Evidence. Sixth chapter is The Fallacy of Melanated People. Seventh chapter is Ice Sheets. Eighth chapter is The Olmec Problem. Ninth chapter is Correcting Our Elders. And the last chapter will be The Challenger Voyage in itself.
All right.
So that's what that is.
All right. So that's a projection of works to come, you know, and we still got works coming out. So, you know, people will be learning about that coming up soon. All right. So, our elder, Mku, did you want to respond to Wujao?
I think that everybody, you know, expressed themselves very succinctly, precisely. It was at a level of where everybody could understand, especially Brother Asar. He explained his situation and his position very clearly, and I appreciated his presentation. I think that in order for it to be, for this, you know, to be successfully responded to, we have two individuals who aren't here to explain why they said what they said. So I can't take the position of trying to explain anything that the two brothers said. But everything that you guys said, I do not disagree with at all. I definitely agree with everything that was said tonight. You have my support, and let's see if we can. Let's see if we can
just cut the show off in the middle of the show. It's over with. Let them clear to the elders.
Mute your mic. Okay. All right. Enko?
I got it.
Okay. Now just closing out, you know, letting everybody know that I was really appreciative for having the opportunity to, you know, to build, you know, to, you know, make amends and you know, share and learn and build. And I really, really appreciate the opportunity. I want to say dua and Imhotep.
All right. Yeah, definitely. Relationships usually are stronger after they've been mended together. So definitely. And actually, it was never severed. So I just want to say that. Mwalimu Olatunji, you want to respond?
Tonight, it was a good build. A lot of clarity was had, you know, where we cleared up a lot of misunderstandings. I will say that I just want to say something that may have been misunderstood on y'all side as well. When we initially did our presentation last week, it was addressed a lot of stuff that's going on social media. So it was not particularly Amara Squad that inspired it in and of itself. There was other stuff as can be witnessed by some of the people that I mentioned. I didn't even mention them all. Some of them I talked to you about on the phone before. So you know that there are other individuals out there who are doing some crazy stuff. So I just want that to be said. I'd also like to say that in closing, that the most important thing that we can do, and I love that quote, by the way, by Joe. Sunjeti and I discussed that, the importance of that yesterday. I think that in every presentation that y'all use, y'all should present that quote at the beginning and have another quote by Job at the end. I think it will clear up any misconceptions and misunderstandings that people are thinking that you're degrading Job's work or him as a person. And finally, I'd like to say that in everything that we do, both individually and collectively, we must always remember that we're doing this because we love our people, and that we want to raise our people back up to their former glory, and that we want us to be a whole sovereign people again, and that we do that through all of the research and all of the efforts and energies that we do. So, and I thank everybody for allowing me to this time to talk to y'all. I'm always available for those who don't have my phone number. Just inbox me. I'll give it to you. You can call me at any time you feel you need to talk. Okay. So with that, I send my greetings of peace. Shemotep.
Hey, Kufu, do you have any closing remarks?
I think I pretty much kind of said it all. You know, I just want to tell Kofi to grow his beard back, because I know his wife made him cut his beard. And I just want to let everyone know that Mku cried during initiation. And so, you know, love everyone on the panel, man. It's been a discussion.
Yeah, and congratulations to y'all too. I was initiated into the same temple, Karachuti Heru Nepu. So, I know about that process. So, y'all got it right. So yeah. Congratulations to you both. All right. So Dr. MAAT, do you have closing remarks?
Yeah, I just want to say that this was a very, I think, a very healthy discussion. Glad to be a part of it because initially, I'm not going to lie, I was a bit upset when I found out, about the discourse that took place and about the things that were said about Brother Sar. Because I just want to get this straight. None of us are beyond. I hear some stuff. Can we mute whoever that is? Sanjay?
Got it. Would y'all? Okay.
Got it.
All right, we're good.
Yeah. I just want to say this. None of us are beyond reproach. And when you went down the line earlier today, Sanjay, you asked a question. You said, what is scholarship? And everyone pretty much gave a response of, scholarship is higher level learning. Scholarship is detailed study. Scholarship is rigorous. Scholarship requires, research. And, so when we research, we got to understand that when you research something, or even that the purpose of research is to discover new information. Now, if I'm researching a particular topic and I come across some incorrect information, it is my duty as a scholar, right? Or my responsibility as a scholar and as a teacher to make that mistake known or to correct it, right? And so when Asar, for 20 years, he's been researching the word kemet, or the definition of kemet, or the meaning of kemet. And he's conducting this research. He's been looking at it for 20 years. And he's been examining the claims out there, the evidence to support these claims. And, and he deduced using his methodology that they're wrong. And, and it's okay if Job is wrong. And like you guys said, and I agree 100% with you, that Job is one of the greatest minds, right, of the 20th century. What I'm saying to you is this: if he's wrong, it's okay. It's okay to be corrected. That doesn't taint Job's legacy. That doesn't change what Job means to us or to the Pan-African community, or that doesn't taint his work if he's wrong, and we should be able to correct our ancestors. They aren't beyond reproach either. Now when we say we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, we mean that our ancestors are our foundation. It doesn't mean that we had to do everything they did, believe, or accept everything they said. And so when we examine their work and we find, an error in their work, it is our duty, is our responsibility as scholars and as teachers to correct it. And that's what Asar did. So I just want to take this time out to say kudos to Brother Asar. It took courage to do what he did, because, he received a lot of backlash from that, because you do have brothers and sisters in the community who hang on to the every word of our ancestors and our elders. So that took a lot of courage for Brother Asar to step forward and say, hey, this is wrong. And guess what? It's okay. It happens in academia. It happens all the time. Let's take, for example, Benjamin Franklin. For years upon years, Benjamin Franklin was regarded as the father of electricity. And he thought that electricity was due to the movement of protons. And then later on, they found out that, wait a minute, electricity is due to the movement of electrons. But they still refer to him, or still revere him, as the father of electricity. So Sheikh Auntie Joe will still be and will forever be regarded as one of the greatest minds of the Pan-African community. So it does not taint his image, and we should be able to correct our ancestors. So that's what I want to say, because I feel like I'm rambling on. I also want to say that we are huge supporters of Kemetic Press. Again, I have their book, MAAT, sitting right here. SIBA, a researcher's first handbook. And a matter of fact, I'm teaching a class next semester called Introduction to Electrical Engineering. And I'm going to break it down into 3 modules. First module is going to be based on or focused on critical thinking. My second module is going to be based on research. And we are going to be using Kemetic Press's book and Morgan State University School of Engineering. I co-founded a book club with Brother Black Panther's wife, Sister Alima Njai. And our next book is What Must Be Done by Kemetic Press. So we are huge supporters of Kemetic Press. I just kind of wanted to put that out there. And I have nothing left to say, Brother Sanjay.
That was clear, concise, and on point, sis. Okay. You see, Nihisi, you in here? Okay, so he must have stepped out. Hey, Smash, you in here? Magi, you got any closing remarks? Maybe he stepped away. Okay. Sorry, do you got any closing remarks? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Magi.
Yep. Are y'all there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I missed half the build.
Okay. All right. Do you have any closing remarks? Just in general.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for their contributions on the night. Let people know you still can find that book online. Just Google Magi blurb or put Jonathan Owens. And yeah, I mean it's a good build. So peace to everybody. Thanks for putting the time in.
All right, fam. All right. Asar, you got any closing remarks?
Yeah, peace. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So again, as I stated previously, appreciate the build. The universe works in mysterious ways, as the church would say, and so maybe this was divine intervention. Either way, how you interpret it, I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone for participating and for their insights. And one of the things that I try to do, as I told, after my stint with the Hebrew Israelites, I made a vow that I would not, latch on to personality, that I will always seek truth, and I will go with the truth no matter what I faced, as a result of it. And I think I've been consistent with that, over the years. And one of the things I want to stress to the community is that when you get to the truth of things, it allows you to solve problems more accurately. And so it's one of the reasons why I love science, because it has a built-in mechanism to remove your emotions, which will cloud, saying your judgment. And so I look at this as I'm a general, and I'm responsible for putting a plan together for us to win this war. And if I don't have good intel, and I command younger folks to go out there and fight certain battles and don't equip them with the tools necessary to win the war, I can send them to be ambushed and, get killed, and then ultimately we lose the war because of bad intel. And so while this is metaphoric, this is intellectual warfare, but it goes on beyond that. And so the information that the intel that I'm providing our troops, meaning our babies who's going to take our place and continue our work, it has to be accurate. And I'm not sending them off to get ambushed by the enemy. And so that's my commitment. And anybody want to know my end game and why I do what I do, the way that I do it, that's why. And so this has been a helpful build. And I just appreciate, again, everyone for participating, and we'll see each other moving to and fro, doing what we do in the community. So, respect.
All right. Sorry. Thanks for that. All right. Do you have any closing remarks? Thank you. Did you fall? Okay. All right. Let's move to the next. All right, Wu Jiao, you have closing remarks?
Yeah, briefly. I want to say earlier at the beginning of the discussion, Sunwear Mku, you had made a statement, something to the effect of that you are our brothers and that you will regain our something as elders as well, something to that effect, right? And so what I want to say is that you all are our elders, okay? And I want to say that collectively, you have our word, or I should speak for myself, really, that speak for myself, that you have my word, that you can be assured that when we do address information, public claims, publications with claims in them, that we will do so with respect and with good character. All right. And I think all the elders of our community need to understand and know that We're not some fly by night folks. We're not the wild out, rough on the edge folks. You know, you know, and I'll speak for myself again. I'm not a wild guy. I'm not out there. You don't see me out there doing all this stuff and everything. Matter of fact, I don't even like my name and stuff being. It took me a long time just to even get used to the title of Seba. You know, I know you all were in the class. I was like, nah, you know, just in the classroom, just say Seba, but not on Facebook or anything. So, but my point is that moving forward, I want you all to rest. Be assured that when we address things, that we're going to do it with class, professionalism, good character, and with respect, and in writing. All right. So, you know, don't confuse us with the element that's out there, because I know, like I think Brother Kufu, or no, one of you all has said that the inspiration of your show in the first place was not really us. It was a bunch of stuff, but you know, we kind of got caught in there, and you know. So anyway, I just wanted to make that be known. And real quick, to the elders that are not here, especially Dr. Daka, that I definitely understand that he talked to everybody individually on the phone and has apologized the whole nine. And listen, that's excellent as well. I wish he was here, you know, live, but he's not, and that's fine. But to him and his team, listen, they do brilliant work, and you all have already stressed that there's no friction. So I don't want anybody in the public to try to even attempt to use anything to try to wedge something between the University of Kemet Press and the Amara Squad or any of these elders on the panel. It's not going to work. We're not having that. All right. We love our elders, and we are in solitude and solidarity with the elders, period. All right. So I just want to make that clear, and that's it. And peace to everybody, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak and to even participate in this.
Can I say something real quick? I know this. We started this before midnight, but as this is the third day of Kwanzaa, and the principle is Ujima, and it's collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our sisters and brothers' problems our problems, and to solve them together. So I think that's a perfect principle. Not only for today, but for this discussion. So I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. You know.
Nice. Yeah, thank you for that, Kufu. Panther, do you want to say something real quick? Just real quick.
So everybody else get 20 minutes. I got to be real quick. No, I'm just messing with you.
3 seconds.
3. Oh, dang.
For the
self-destruct.
For the sake of Dr. MAAT. Are you done? All right, you're done.
I was just going to say,
sorry.
Goodness gracious. Doing me like I'm at the Grammys. I was just going to say it's important to practice Iwa-Pele with each other, especially each other, the researchers in the community. A lot of people translate Iwa-Pele as good character, but it's actually gentle character. And emphasis on the gentle part. We should all be a little more gentler with each other. Things can always get heated, especially in conversations. But, you know, as Olatunji Mwamba said, we all do this because we love our people and we want to see change in our community. That's the only reason that should be the reason that, you know, we have these discourse. So, I'm glad that this happened. I didn't get to catch all of it. It worked, but you know, I'll catch it on the playback. Thank you to Brother Mku, Brother Olatunji Mwamba, Brother Kufu for showing up. And I'm glad that this discourse took place. And that's all I got to say.
All right, Dua, thank you for that. So I'll do the final closing remarks here. You know, again, I still want to shout out to our elder Takai Kilimanjaro. He's still one of our elders. Okay, he's still to be respected and honored. Infadisha Jehudi Meskai and Haru is still one of our elders to be respected and honored. And again, we've had conversations with them. You know, so think there were things that were resolved in private and in public. So, you know, any of those issues, you know, the community understand we're handling it. So everything is in accord. Okay, so I'm going to do a screen share. Would y'all, I don't know if you can make it extra large.
Yep, as soon as you share it, it'll be full screen.
Okay, all right. Let me move this over. We're going to end with a few quotes here. All right, so this is the instructions of Kagemi's father, and I think it's appropriate for, this discussion here. The respectful man prospers, and I believe that us showing respect to each other will lead to our prosperity. Blessed is the moderate person. So that goes to that iwapuele, that gentle character. Open is the tent to the quiet man. So we're being open to each other here. All right. Spacious is the place of the one calm in speech, meaning that be controlled of how you say things. And I think some of our elders here were talking about how you say things. And that's what this principle teaches us. And again, there's in the spirit of scholarship, there's a reference up top, and we see the transliteration. Okay, next one. This comes from the instructions of Ankh Shashank. This is from the late period of ancient Kemet. The 11th column, line 3 starts, may I get to know my neighbor that I may give him my goods. In other words, we are getting to know each other and we're sharing our resources. May I get to know my brother that I may open my heart to him. And this is what you witness here, that we opened our hearts and our resources to each other. And here's a good one. Here's the line 11. A man's character is his family. A man's character is his family. A man's character is one of his limbs. So your character is an extension of you. You can't separate from it. 9, column 12. A wise master who asks advice, his house stands forever. So here we're asking each other advice. Ask advice from your elders. Ask advice from specialists, etc. And this is what happened tonight. So again, the objective was to achieve MAAT. And so at the top, we see the symbols, the meta-nature symbols, and the transliteration and the translation. And I believe that we spoke truth tonight. Everybody spoke their truth. We didn't hold anything back, but it was in the sense of right doing. I believe that we did this thing right. It was in order. We had an order. We had a time, etc. Of course, we were a little late, but we had technical difficulties, but we kept the specific order. There was management involved. Okay, the entire conversation was managed. I believe it was managed well, and I believe that everyone else shares the same. And we had that cohesion. At the end of the day, we had the cohesion, and we achieved. And I believe that we achieved MAAT tonight. And this is what it's all about: achieving that goal of truth, justice, righteousness, order, reciprocity, and balance. And in the spirit of scholarship, there's the 2 references at the bottom. So I want to thank everybody for coming in and participating. This was a necessary program. This is a classic conversation. Classic. So we can end out here. Shem Hotep to everyone, all the listeners. All right. See you next time.
Hotep.
All right. Shem Hotep.
Shem Hotep.
Hotep.
Hotep.